Hello, everyone. How we doing today? I hope everyone is doing well on this fine Sunday afternoon. Who we got here? We got Keo, the saddest of boys, Wins, Mikey Mike. Good to see everybody, random person. Hello, hello. We are going to be playing a new game, well, new for me, called Of the Devil today. I am going in quite blind. I know it is a, like, murder mystery, cyberpunk aesthetic, and that it's inspired by, you know, all the classic murder mystery visual novel adventure games. Your Ace Attorneys, your Danganronpas, all that stuff. Other than that, I really don't know much about it, but everything I've heard about it, people have said it's very good. So it's been highly requested, and we're gonna give it a shot today. As far as I know, the game is episodic, so you have to, like, buy each episode. I have not really done that yet, but we're just doing the, like, free-to-play portion. And then if this does well, if I like it, if you guys like it, then we can keep going. So that's the plan, at least, for today. Hello, important. Especially for a mystery game. We got mods here to handle that, thankfully. But yeah, I really don't have too much preamble. I kind of think we can just hop right in. What do you guys think? Let's go ahead and scooch. Who's this made by? They're called Nth Circle Studios. They're an indie team. I don't think I've played any of their other stuff, but I feel like I've heard of them from something else. I can't place where. I'll have to look it up later, but... Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. There we go. Just make that a smidgen bigger. Okie dokie. It is giving raincoat. That is another one that I get the same vibe as, for sure. Non-triangle, hello, what's up? Alright, we're just gonna hop right into a new case. I have no idea what we're in for. And we're gonna do episode 0 today. Rain sizzles off neon above me. Okay, I'm just looking at the UI. The summer shower creates a noted uptick in the flickering of holograms down the street, and a slight blunting of the night's ambiance. Emphasis on slight. Lights, cameras, and constant noise. The city's got insomnia, with the uneven heart rate to prove it. How's the game volume for you guys? I think it's a little loud. I'm gonna turn it down just a smidgen, but you guys can let me know. There's no escaping the secondhand nervous energy of it, but I'm plenty acclimated. Just a wave of worries cresting on the surface while I hold my breath deep below. Very, very prosy. Besides, a microdose of nightlife anxiety suits my mood just fine. 'Cause if I'm not careful, this client of mine's gonna die in jail. Hello, main character. Morgan. Criminal attorney. It's hard to get away with murder these days. People are still presumed innocent, at least on paper. But by the time they're in cuffs, there's hardly any shadows of doubt left. 'Cause this whole world's lit up, mapped out. Never known and always online. Never unknown, sorry, and always online. Whether it's incandescent or neon or hollow, whether it's LCD, LED, or just the nearest phone screen. There's light shining on every last pixel of the map. And someone's always watching. Solitude's a rarity. Anonymity is scarce. And criminal defense attorneys aren't exactly flush with customers. So you take whatever clients you can get. You don't balk at public defender work, no matter the hour. And should you find yourself in one of the last dark, quiet corners left in the whole world, well, smoke 'em if you got 'em. Not that there's much else I can do until my phone. Counselor, your public defender contract has been approved. You are expected at the 254th precinct. Present your ID at the door to enter. Arrive at least 15 minutes early. Very dynamic UI. I'll try! Looks like the paperwork came through. It's nearly 3:15 now. 90 minutes since I took the job. Probably makes it about 2 hours since they finally got smart enough to ask for a lawyer. They're really smart. They'll use that time to get some rest. So I can pull up my phone. Okay, so this is like my menu. Profiles, articles, evidence, save. Ooh, I can customize it? Ooh! Okay, so I can like... Oh, this is so cutesy. Okay, we'll come back to this once I have more, like, money. Is there any important terms? No. Anything in here? No. Okay. Because now that I'm here, things are gonna get busy. Episode 0. And he shall appear. No, I don't want to disable tutorials. I might need them because I have never played this before. It's giving, it's also giving Eye the Somnium files in terms of, like, this room absolutely looks like something I would see in Eye the Somnium files. And I mean that as a good thing. Precinct 254. It's a goddamn ghost town. Nothing but a hologram for a welcoming party. I'm here about a homicide. High clearance rates be damned. I think they treat it with a little more gravitas. But whatever. If I'm that unimportant, they've got no right to complain if I take my sweet time getting checked in. And I should take my time. Information's like cash in my line of work. You gotta spend it to make it. And if you're flat broke, no one will give a shit what you have to say. So let's see if I can't poke around and shake some change loose. Press phone. Alright, okay. Cool. Okay, so we earn credit for clicking around. Cool. So there is an incentive to, like, click on everything. An actual police lineup. It's like I walked into a museum. Suspect number 1, can you sing the opening of I Want It That Way by the Backstreet Boys? Though museums tend to feel expensive. And clean. Dusty, forgotten, probably lots of unpacked boxes. This homicide department's more like an attic. Hard to believe they were ever so busy that they had witnesses making IDs in the lobby. Then again, it's hard to believe they were ever doing lineups in the first place. Are you certain? Wasn't it dark? Did you know that during traumatic events, memory formation is blah blah blah? Poking holes in that setup must have been like shooting fish in a barrel. And all during billable hours. So there's no room to sow doubt anymore. Not when a modded witness can just submit their testimony as a video recording. Assuming their phone didn't automatically file a police report for them. Okay. Let's look at this. A data pad. I'll bite. Even when they're more advertisement than article, they can still be informative. In a flowery, roundabout, corporate propaganda sort of way. Keep an eye out for articles, we get world building and credit. Awesome. Choose the proper takeaway and you'll get bonus credit. Okay. Oh, that's a lot of words. Alright, hold on. Let me skim this. Engineers. Civil engineering efforts will be refocused on maintenance and expansion of hybrid super infrastructure system. Canopy, react. Oop. Where is it? Reaction state announcement characterizes blasé. It's been years since we last ran. Decades, most citizens don't even know about chatter. Most commenters voting on citizens' investigations into the councilman's long-term franchise figures. City Hall long has often found himself at odds with a small vocal group of critics in order to be an eyesore. Fully cooperate with investigators. First time in nearly 20. Rock City political foundation of the Canopy was looking uncharacteristically shaky. Subway no longer an option. Of little to my commute. However, not all reactions has been negative. Already considered to be a rising star in the infrastructure, tech startup Subterra has made headlines with a radical proposal system, personal submarine taxi pods, make use of flooded momentum stall. The prototype came in at a disappointing 3,000% over budget. The one council member, mind-boggling wasteful and impractical. Across the entire globe, coastal cities. We can't read this whole thing, otherwise we would be here for hours. At least I can't read it aloud. Water rises and falls. Appears you have 0 free articles remaining. Cool. Ballsy of them putting the paywall there. As if I reach for my wallet after having to read a word like aesthetical. Besides, I got the gist of it. The takeaways the city will be focusing its efforts on. Did I get the gist of it? They said they're gonna do Subterra. I think. I hope. Maybe I picked wrong. Anyway. What's this? High traffic hallways, utilitarian furnishing, multiple screening stations. Pragmatic brutalism so textbook it could teach freshman level architecture. Could almost hear the building drone on and on about concrete and iron and hard right angles. Civil planning equivalent of battle scars. From a fight won so long ago, they're starting to look ridiculous. I'm sure it was all very imposing back when it was built. But walking in here now, with crime rates where they are, feels like a hospice ward for heavy-handedness. Alright, I think the only thing left is the welcome. The medium's cracked in the corner. Looks bad, but my phone's made of the same stuff, and I'm rolling the dice every time it falls off the sofa. Could probably null the warranty on one of these things with a loud sneeze. At least it's not broken. Entirely. Even at this hour, it's still dutifully scrolling through its notifications. Looks like the usual 1-to-1 ratio of public health alerts and inoffensive pop culture trivia you always get served at state buildings. But there's a few missing persons, too. String not found. 1 year of Silver Plan coverage, courtesy of Caduceus as a reward for any... Silver's no joke. Family must be getting desperate. Alright. Taking in all the scenery and learned as much as I can here. Time to get checked in. It booted up fine. So far, so good. Good morning. Morgan, here for the public defender contract. Could you please provide your name and... Great. Please stand still for a moment. I wouldn't call Intake Hollows charming. More like harmless. But that's probably what the designers were aiming for. People don't mind a quirk or two in their tech, as so long as it never speaks out of turn. I'm sorry. I'm having trouble placing you. Could you please provide your name and date of birth? So far, so good, was it? Well, if they need my date of birth, I feel like then I need the card, right? Because I don't know my own date of birth. December 26th. Likes and dislikes. What's she got against hairdressers, man? Alright. Do my card. Say, why don't you just scan my ID card? Great! Now could you just confirm your date of birth for me? Why do they even bother asking? My birthday's on the damn ID card, and my... Okay, so they want me to check the... They want me to check the profile. I have to be a world-class airhead to get this question wrong. No problem. My birthday is December 26th. Perfect. Good morning, Morgan, counselor. Thank you for your timely arrival and for taking on this public defender contract. If you're ready to speak to your client, you can proceed to counseling quarter 3C. Is that what we're calling it now? You mean the interrogation room? I'm sorry to have caused any confusion. My vocabulary is regularly updated to better reflect state standards. Don't sweat it. I can't keep track of every new euphemism either. They could call it an They could call it the involuntary wellness check room if they like. It doesn't change the way it makes a person feel, sitting in a stifled box of one-way panels. Nothing to see but their own reflection, dully warped across gunmetal walls. Morgan Counselor, can I help you with anything else? Choices that progress the story forward will cause other options to shrink away when selected. Choices that will take the conversation side paths because of the article, you've unlocked an additional choice. Okay, so... No thanks is how I end the convo. But the other two are like side convos. Okay, cool. What are you? I'm a smart user interface, proudly sold by Noble Electronics. Thanks for asking. If you're interested, I could send you a link with information about our subscription packages. Should I send you a link with information about our subscription packages? No. Sorry. That was a mean question to ask. Huh? Why the disrepair? I know the city's not terribly concerned with the lower wards, but this is a police station. Why is it so goddamn dusty? This facility is currently undergoing renovations. Since when? The 60s? It has been 22 months. I like that they paused to take time to calculate, since the timetable was last updated. They really don't see a lot of action around here, do they? I'm sorry for any inconvenience you might have encountered. I'm adaptable. What about you? They ever gonna fix the crack? Thank you for asking. It has not interfered with my work. Well, that's all that matters, right? That'll be all. Thank you. You'll find the counseling quarters past our homicide detective's office, through the door to your right. Thanks. But I think it's just me for now, so you can go on break if you like. Automated dependents do not take breaks, Morgan Counselor. Then what were you doing before I walked in? You'll find the counseling quarters past our homicide detective's office. Through the door to the right. Thank you. Ads don't get breaks, and they don't get my jokes. But it's usually the humorless types that are the most fun to mess with anyway. Eyes gone bad or some... A voice. No, voices coming from down the hall. Compared to yours, probably. Thank God I stopped for directions. Building this empty, the desk could have just told me to follow the echoes. One voice sounds older, rougher, and decidedly low energy. Appreciate you worrying about me. God forbid I try to be serious. While the other rings with youthful indignation. It's not like our job is important or anything. Definitely cops. And at this precinct, at this hour, they might be the only two living, breathing people in the whole complex. So why else would you bother to print all that out? One document or 100. Looks the same on a datapad. Anytime you question a suspect, you need to have a heavy file in hand. Makes them think you know better than the priest, their mother, their big brother. I wasn't gonna say that. So how many of those sheets were blank then? Oh, hello. No red carpet tonight, officers? Oh, sorry about that, ma'am. We don't keep many extra hands at these hours. Probably faster to let the desk handle intake anyway. But mostly cheaper. You the lawyer? I am. Morgan Esquire. Pleased to meet you. Same here, counselor. Kasem, London. Is it Kasem? Is that how you say it? Or is it like Quasim? And the ball of sunshine here is my partner. Farrah Reyes? Ray? Is it Reyes or Reyes? Ball of sunshine. She certainly is. Huh. Sorry if you were kept waiting. Chatter between the departments has been hectic all night. It's no trouble. Give me time to enjoy my cigarette. Cigarette? Like tobacco? What are you, 80? She can't be more than a few years younger than me. We're, the detectives in charge of this particular case. And it looks like tonight, we're also your humble guides to the illustrious homicide department. Apologize in advance for any cobwebs. Pretty sure I've seen this London character around the courthouse before. Kasim? Okay, Kasim. He never struck me as more than just some old-timer. But I suppose being an old-timer is an accomplishment in and of itself in his profession. Sunshine is definitely a new face, though. Rigid in posture and her attitude. 3 in the morning and her shirt still looks ironed. Freshly promoted, maybe? 2 whole detectives working at these hours? Sounds serious. Unless you were just the first to arrive on the scene. No, we're not nearly that timely. Uniforms responded to the emergency calls within a few minutes. Calls, plural. Must have been quite the commotion. Look around. You think we're the first to arrive for anything? She's not wrong. We were only tapped after the circumstances at the crime scene indicated involvement with an ongoing investigation. Our ongoing investigation. Not very subtle, is she? But I may as well bite at this point. So, you suspect this client of mine is involved in some separate criminal activity? Wait, did they really not? No, I guess they wouldn't put it in a public defender's briefing. Look, consider this a little professional courtesy. Fair warning, yeah? That's the heartbreak killer in that room. And we've got this bastard dead to rights. So if you're kind, you'll help him plead it out. And if you're smart, you'll pass this shitstorm onto some other night owl and go back to bed. I'm not feeling particularly kind or smart at the moment. So perhaps in the meantime, you'd be so polite as to fill me in about this heartbreak killer. They cover utilities at the rock you live under? Is there a problem? You're seriously not familiar with the HK. Never heard of him. I've heard enough of him for a lifetime. That name has been plastered all over the city for weeks. Their crimes wavering between breaking news and urban legend. Their presumed goals flip-flopping between unadulterated anarchy to unappreciated vigilantism. At street corners, in the media, on the net, everyone's indulging in the exact kind of armchair detective speculation that I can't stand. But right now, I need to figure out exactly how much the police do or don't know. And when it comes to cops, I always get better results playing dumb than I do acting smart. I take it he's a repeat offender? Was it the killer part that tipped you off? You must have at least heard about his MO. Media's gone crazy with it. Along with everyone else, what, does he like rip hearts out? 1 bullet, straight to the heart, body left to lie where it falls. Hence the name Heartbreak. Not exactly creative, but amidst the swirl of every other 100-word article out there, catchiness trumps originality. What you won't read about online is that all 6 of HK's victims were shot by the same gun. Without even needing to reload. Horrible to say, I know, but 6 for 6? That's pretty good shooting, isn't it? Hitting the bullseye at shooting range is good shooting. Doing it 6 times in a row is great. But shooting 6 people with accuracy like that? It's a whole different beast. Takes a certain kind of monster. A real freak. His pulse probably didn't even rise. Wrong voice, but... I quite like this track as well. I see. Sounds horrific, sounds robotic. It probably sounds more robot. I don't know if this matters, but... You almost make him sound like a machine. Is it possible that... No, it's not. There's no such thing as killer robots, madam. Have you seen Terminator? Of course. My mistake. So all those androids marching in the military, those robots patrolling in police uniforms, those drones dropping firebombs from the sky... I guess they're all firing blanks. Fair enough. Machines can kill, and they have been for decades. But they don't commit murder. Right. Evil like heartbreak is all organic. That's a pretty terrifying thought. I should really start paying more attention to the news. How I managed to miss 6 murders. Well, you can only blame yourself for missing 5. Pardon? You're still not getting it? HK's 6th victim was found a few hours ago. When we caught the son of a bitch red-handed. So, you're convinced that my client is the heartbreak killer, and tonight was just his latest crime. That's a serious accusation, with very serious consequences. I take it you have serious evidence to back that up? I was being literal, counselor. Red-handed blood. Red-handed. When we found your client, he was covered in her blood. Well, that's not good, is it? What you say certainly sounds compelling. Is that lawyer talk for open and shut? But even if that's the case, how does one crime scene make him look good for 6 murders? It's all there in the discovery files. And the ARCs, of course. Join the local net on your phone and we'll turn over everything you need. I'll bet. Thanks for that, detective. I'll be sure to read it over. But if it's all the same, could I ask you some questions while I've got you here? The hell kind of attorney wants to interrogate the detectives? This kind of attorney. You're just that pleasant. Come on, sunshine. Not like we're gonna be punching out anytime soon, right? Whatever. Let your client stew in interrogation all night for all I care. You mean the counseling quarters? We're at your disposal, counselor. Alright. Looky around. I guess let's start with this. Barren, stark, and uninviting. This must be Ray's desk. Keeping your workstation neat and tidy is admirable, but I can't spot a single mote of personalization. She's so new she hasn't had time to unpack? Or is she really that uptight and boring? Both, maybe. What's his desk? You shouldn't have cleaned up so much for little old me, Detective London. Someone really needs to introduce this guy to a filing system. Or even just a stapler. Paper documents scattered about lazily, alongside actual photographs. Either he's really old-fashioned or really paranoid about data leaks. And he doesn't look like the paranoid type. Well, orderliness aside, some things are better in paper. I'll give him that. Loose wires, missing panels, an aircon system that probably sweats more than people it's supposed to cool. No room in the budget for making the office not look like shit, huh? I expected to find a lot of belt tightening at Homicide, but I didn't think their operation would be this bare bones. Got a stunning clearance rate, and they work fast. Guess the city sees that and just assumes their job is easy. Maybe their job is easy, with our dear, doting surveillance state eliminating so much of the front work. But if your wheels don't squeak, you don't get your palms greased. So Homicide ends up as the only state department with a shrinking budget. A dumping grounds for the police force's most unambitious and least popular. Alright. That's everything, no? Can't talk to them yet. I'm missing something. Oh, there we go. Alright, what do we got? Noble androids. Detroit become human. Oh, well, first generation of androids. 50% oh, we are just making artificial life. Okay, cool. So-called warm androids were looked down upon as impractical. From the fringe religious, traditionally controversial. Cater to civilian customers. Noble's doubters were proven wrong. The Animate 16 is supposed to break profitability records with no sign of slowing down. Much of 16's line success contributed to the remarkable lifelike personal charm of their products. All accounts can be Noble's lead programmer, Dr. David Asher. Lead programmer is the understatement of the century. It's of his Turing solution. Oh, goody. Whenever you see Turing's name, You never know what that's like. Reputation full on display. Dr. Asher was nowhere to be seen. He's been a hermit in recent years. Hey fam, looks like you're not logged in. Okay. He's in the news again. It's no wonder. Can't spit without it landing on a piece of noble tech these days. Especially not when the state's involved. Don't know if they'll bite when it comes to warm androids, though. For government use, they're frail, isn't that the problem? Yeah. All androids undergo wear and tear, especially if they're directing traffic or suppressing crowds. So if these warm androids bleed pink all over themselves every time they take a rock to the cheek, it's just an endless stream of bad photo ops waiting to happen. Okay. Nothing else jumps out at me around here. Got a better idea who I'm dealing with, at least. Now I need to check out the crime scene data. I should have been sent a link. You've been granted access. Press C. You need to reply C in order to confirm. Am I talking to a person? I'm an automated dependent. Ads are usually more polite. Our personalities are tailored to suit our users' preferences. So the state likes you to be a little authoritarian. You need to reply C. C. It's case sensitive. That's crazy. Thank you. Link. Alright, if I project from my phone. Alright, let me in. Woo! Augmented reality crime scene. We're going into AR. Very eye the Somnium files of them. Alright, let's see what the police have and what they think is important. Alright, I guess we just look around. Let's start with the body. The victim's body. Cause of death, ballistic trauma, class 4 blood loss, atrium and aorta, single gunshot wound to the heart, in brief. Death was instantaneous. No injuries anywhere else, no blood or skin under her nails. Blood splatter, forensics, all the other good stuff tells him she was shot from there. So the killer was standing in the doorway when they fired. Okay. Cool. Cool. Stand-up mirror, shattered and knocked over. Real glass. No screens or cameras here. It was hit hard. Hard enough to come unattached from its arm, where shards of glass were scattered. Far enough to land on the victim's body. What a mess. Okay. Seems like this vase got tossed aside at some point. And yet there's not a scratch on it. Must be pretty damn durable. Isn't art supposed to be delicate? Maybe it's making a statement. Alright. What else? Oh, the gun. The murder weapon. A revolver found right next to the body. 6 empty casings found in each of the 6 chambers, meaning the gun's been fired 6 times. Ballistic markings are the fingerprints of a gun. Looks like the crime scene techs practically disassembled the damn thing. But all they found were fingerprints belonging to my client. So he was found by the police, with the murder weapon, right in front of the body. I don't even know where to start. Highly prejudicial would be an understatement. That's all the big-ticket items. What about the security? Looks like the apartment was unlocked all night. It's not uncommon for people their age in a neighborhood like this. But no signs of forced entry only hurts my client's case. What about the rest of the room? There's not much else flagged here. Just a lounge chair that got thrown and whatever that is. Unidentified ceramic debris. Flagged as irrelevant? That's their technical assessment? Guess even the crime scene techs weren't sure what to make of it. Maybe it's the contents of the vase? Okay. That's everything the police highlighted. But did I miss anything? I don't know, did I? Did I? What the hell is that? Something in the victim's hand. How the hell did... It's just a pill organizer. Ooh. Looks like some immune adjusters, NSAIDs, and... Oh god. Triprexis, I don't know. A synthetic glucocorticoid medication. Taken daily to reduce rejection symptoms like phantom pain and generalized itch. The autopsy said her tox screen was clear, but it's not like it matters. She could have swallowed every medicine cabinet in the city and it still wouldn't change her cause of death. It's odd, but ultimately irrelevant. Is it? It doesn't seem irrelevant. Everything else in here is very incriminating, but the kicker is everything that's not here. No out-of-place DNA, footprints, crumbs, nothing that points toward anyone except my client. Well, I've done more with less before, but not much more. I'm really gonna have to sing for my supper this time. Better get start. Who the hell's messaging me at this time of night? First person who comes to mind is... Suppose it could be something important. Apparently texting with Brat. Red! What couldn't wait until morning? Good news, of course. Got a job for you. That's a pretty cheery way to tell me you violated parole. LOL, not that kind of job. Besides, I've been covering my tracks. This is something different. Kind of thing I can't handle with just a keyboard and phishing scheme. I need you to sue my gym teacher. Not that kind of lawyer, sorry. Hey, at least let me finish. What did they do? Make me run laps? Not illegal. Let me finish! They made me run laps. Even though I said I had a stomach ache. Said. Gotta be like... youth endangerment. So, depraved indifference or some kind of shit. Sounds like you've already got a strong case. Try self-representing this time. What's with the blow-off? Nice phrasing. Oh wow, I'm laughing so hard right now. See? Aw, they're cute. They're so scrungly. They're just a little scrungle. Is that your mugshot? I wasn't gonna not get a copy of my mugshot and use it as a reaction. This character's great. Automatic favorite. Glad you found a use case. But I'm working right now, so... Anything cool? Homicide. Oh, cringe. Wait, what kind of homicide? Is it the HBK? Is that the kind of morbid thing kids your age talk about? Teens my age? And yeah, we can read. Compared to the corrupt shit in the headlines. Old-fashioned murder like Hardy B is like... quaint. It's not heartbreak. Then why'd you take the job, LOL? You see the 98% conviction rate as a challenge or something? You taking up a lost cause, pro nose work? It's pro bono. That was autocorrect. You know they give lit homework for a reason, right? This is borderline concern nagging. Maybe you really are a bleeding heart. Or just a sucker. Not a sucker. Nice phrasing, LOL. You should go to bed, Fran. Tomorrow's Sunday. I can stay up if I want. Tomorrow is Sunday. Because today is Saturday. What's with the Carpe Diem shit? It's nearly 4 a.m., kid. You've got school in like 3 hours. Shit. Wait, they have school on a Sunday? Or a Saturday? That's diabolical. Actually. Hold on. Do I have... Oh, I don't have them in the... Okay. Repeat offenders may be good for business. But that kid's bad for my blood pressure. Important text message, I take it? Just your typical teenage drama. Did it say in the phone? Hold on. Okay, we don't have ages. I was just curious. I assume all these people are adults and the other person's a teenager, but I was wondering if we had, like, specifics. So then, if you wouldn't mind filling me in on a few details. I guess let's just go down the list. By the way, couldn't help but notice you're light on staff. It's 3 in the morning. Were you expecting a parade? I thought there'd be at least a few androids around. Aren't many androids in any police station this week. Not while the brass is renegotiating contracts. Contracts with Noble? Good guess. Hardly. They're the biggest... Hardly. They're the biggest robotics corp there is. Could spend all day in Center City without leaving their office's shadow. Yes, we're very fortunate to have them headquartered here. Saves us some money in shipping, at least. But these talks never last that long. I'm sure I'll be back to writing checks for Noble ads by the end of the month. Even with Noble pushing those warm androids? Warm. Ugh. Might as well call it the adult line. Might see them in bigger departments on a patrol, but not around these offices. Warm or cold, there's no such thing as an android detective. Yet. I'm gonna say, really? Oh, I think it'll happen. I meant in the sense that I think it's already happened. Yet? You really think that'll happen? We already use ads for patrolling, securing the scene, pacifying crowds. Doesn't seem like that big a stretch to me. You're joking, right? Android detectives? All the pain we go through getting witnesses to talk to us? With your warm personality? I can't imagine. Cop knocks on your door, starts asking questions, you're gonna be put in a bad mood. An ad knocks on your door, calls you a degenerate criminal in a synthesized voice loud enough for the whole neighborhood to hear. You're gonna start posting shit that'll get you put on a list. Well, we certainly don't want that. But flesh and blood witnesses are becoming less and less common anyway. Cameras, sensors, satellites. We already get all our facts from machines. Give it a few more years, might make sense to let machines do the investigating too. The union would. The police union wouldn't let that happen. She needn't have specified. It's the only real union there is anymore. Dang, alright, let's just go down the line. So, how about the basics? What exactly has my client been charged with? Your client, Carlos Baker? Carlos Baker Flat, was arrested on the scene at 9:50 p.m. Using his middle name already? I really do think he's a serial killer. The charge being first-degree murder of his girlfriend, a Miss Diane Dawn. First degree? That's increasingly rare, to say the least. It's rare for us to get handed anything but crimes of passion around here. City's got damn near more cameras than people. So you gotta be really, really stupid to try and get away with murder. Well, Heartbreak's gotten away with it 6 times. So what's that make him? 5 times. And that makes him insane. I was gonna go with extraordinary. Let's split the difference and say he's extraordinarily insane. But nut jobs like that aren't renowned for their ability to think ahead. So what makes you think this was premeditated? How about the fact he stalked and killed 5 other women as a warm-up? A warm-up? 5 previous bullets. 5 previous victims. None of them knew each other, lived near each other, worked in the same fields. Weeks of digital autopsies crawling up and down their online profiles. Nothing. So the serial killer chose his victims at random? If they have nothing in common... Yeah, nothing in common at all. Other than they all look like cousins. The physical similarities are striking. All 5 prior victims were young women, brown hair and eyes, about the same height, comparable weight. Well, those features aren't exactly uncommon. Couldn't it be a coincidence? If you really believe that, you should quit your job and start buying lotto tickets. HK's got himself a type. Anyone can see that. You really gonna try and tell me you don't see the resemblance? Young woman, Brown hair, brown eyes. Kinda like you. Can't tell how tall she is from the portrait, but I can take a hint. So you think, what, exactly? That Carlos Flat wanted to kill his girlfriend so badly he went out and shot 5 other women first? Hey, if the shoe fits. The shoe fits? Then you put the shoe on the... What sunshine means is that it's not uncommon for killers to displace their violence from people close to them onto outlets with fewer consequences. Drifters, loners, strangers, workers. He was probably building up the nerve for tonight by practicing on these other similar women. Or he's just so far gone that he can't tell the difference anymore. It's not the worst theory in the world, but it doesn't fit. They want to claim those previous victims were practice runs, dress rehearsals for tonight's main event. If that were the case, there'd have been signs of hesitation, nerves. There'd have been mistakes. On top of which, guns are impersonal. Execution shots even more so. There's no sadism or hatred or intimacy in a single bullet to the heart. Killing your girlfriend or her lookalikes usually is, nothing else, a lot less sterile. If you ask me. Well, that wasn't weird at all. I'm sure that's not gonna be important. Well, anyway, I guess. I saw the time of death was 9 p.m. on the autopsy, but do you have a timeline for the rest of the night's events? Can't trust much of what comes out of his mouth, but we've managed, thanks to less biased sources. And we're pretty confident about what we've been able to piece together from their statements. So they interviewed witnesses. Sounds eerily similar to real police work. The suspect and his girlfriend were arguing loudly with one another starting around 8 p.m. Oh! So that's the deal with your eye. You have an AI ball. I'm sorry, I'll stop making Somnium references, but they make it too easy for me. Neighbors were very clear about that part. Couldn't wait to tell us about the happy couple's domestic problems. Everyone in the building knew they'd been fighting for weeks. As you probably gathered from what you saw in the arcs, there was a struggle. Furniture turned over, glass shattered. Things go quiet sometime before 9 p.m. And then there's a gunshot. Scrubbers are still scrubbing, looking for audio from the area to get a timestamp. But we heard from enough concerned citizens to be pretty damn sure about the time. Right. Emergency services got a burst of calls from the block shortly after 9 p.m. No one seems to recognize the sound for what it was, but the silence that followed was pretty universally alarming. Officers arrive on the street at 9:08 p.m., establish a perimeter, enter through the open front door at 9:10 p.m. Then they find your client, crouched over his dead girlfriend, his hand covered in her blood. At which point they move to secure the scene and the suspect. Sorry, did you say his hand? Singular? Your client's modded. Cybernetic right arm. Oh. How modded are we talking here? Registered with an HOW 85 habilis. Industrial grade, looks like. Says he's spec'd for dexterous manipulation of up to class 4 KPA, which means minimum grip strength of, well, basically, he could crush your neck without even gritting his teeth. Considering a career change? No, it's not that. It's just... your eye must be very sensitive for you to put the patch back on each time. And here I thought you just had a 14-year-old sense of fashion. You think a cop would cover up her dominant eye because it was fashionable? I actually thought the same thing the first time we met. You what? But getting back on track, that arm of his has been in the shop for some time now. Can't work without it. Money got tight. The arguing? Yeah. When did he put his arm in for repairs? 8 days before the HK's first victim was killed. Well, no chance to be willing to chalk that up to coincidence. Your client was arrested on the scene after a preliminary scan found his fingerprints on the revolver. And no one else's. A revolver? What kind? The old kind. The real old kind. More specifically, a Calver M54, 6-chambered, 10mm. Oh, wrong voice, but Calver? How Retro. You don't know the half of it. We're talking steel chamber, real gunpowder, mechanical firing pin, and no tags. No tags? How is that? Just how old are we talking here? Yeah, 24/7 location data, time-stamped trigger pulls, safeties coded to owner biometrics. For the past 3 decades, tags have made shooting crimes very unambiguous. So you're claiming my client used some kind of antique to commit these crimes. How else do you think he'd gotten away with it 5 other times? If he tried to buy a gun legit, he'd probably fail the very first psych check. And even jailbroken pieces are only good for so long before update withdrawal sets in. So then, M54, that's model year 2054. A 30-year-old gun. Alright, so we're in 2074. Well, that sure complicates things, doesn't it? In some ways, sure. But pre-tagging firearms are rare. Hold on, I have to sneeze. Maybe. As soon as you announce you have to sneeze, it passes. Okay. Gotta be less than 1,000 of them left in the whole country. And fewer still compatible bullets. The ammunition would have to be over 30 years old, too. The novelty of his weapon has kept us in the dark so far. But now that we have our hands on it, it's gonna put him away for good. Huh? Archive department claimed loud as hell about how deep they had to dig. But with the protocols they found, the tech were able to match the rifling marks on all 6 bullets to the gun your client was found with. Yeah, okay, so... we are doing the ballistic markings or fingerprints of a gun type. Rifling marks. Bullets fired from guns that old are marked by barrel's shape. So if all 6 bullets had the same rifling marks, we know they were all fired by the same gun. It's not as plug and play as tags are, but it's equally precise science, I assure you. And if that's not damning enough, spent casings from the other 5 shootings were still in the chamber. Without even needing to reload. Caliber your client was found with is the gun the HK used to kill 6 women. No way to lawyer around that. An untagged gun. Just being anywhere near a weapon like that could warrant your arrest. Being found by the police over a dead body with an untagged gun used at 5 other crime scenes is just... To summarize, then. You believe my client fought verbally, then physically with his girlfriend. And then he retrieved this weapon and shot her. Yeah, pretty much. How did he look when the officers found him? Guilty. How was his effect? Quiet. Detached. Stiff. Not exactly the picture of a grieving partner. That reaction may have lost him points with the cops, but beyond that, people react to loss in all kinds of unusual ways. So long as the police are suspicious of you, there's no right way to grieve. Checking my phone here, and I have to say, you've done a pretty admirable job keeping the details of HK's crimes a secret. The less reputable sites are doing some real journalistic acrobatics trying to piece together a story. Yeah. Oh, sorry. The, what'd she say? Top 11 theories on who hurt HK was a real weighty read. It's not just journalists, though. All kinds have been emboldened. The freaks that HK's managed to bring out of the woodwork in just a few weeks. Can you blame them, though? I mean, he's a genuine serial killer. Repeat offenders in general are an endangered species, but he's gotten away with... We know what he's gotten away with. Take a look around us, Detective. National DNA Registry is robust enough that cases never go cold. Cameras on every street, a phone on every citizen, violent crime at an all-time low, and clearance rate at all-time highs. But you're gonna spout some alt-pol bullshit about invasion of privacy? No, I'm not. People are safer now than any time in history, detectives. So when someone like Heartbreak does come along... Good point. London's trying to look like he can laugh it off. The pressure from the higher-ups must be reaching its peak. They want, maybe need to see someone charged. And that... Makes them predictable. Yeah, well, even if there's nothing standard about HK, Department SOP still dictates we starve the media for case details. That way, when we do feed them, they're grateful for whatever scraps they get. But we can't take all the credit this time around. Homicide's tight-knit and tight-lipped, but it's not like there's much information for us to leak in the first place. And why is that? Because none of the shootings were caught on the opt-in crime surveillance system. How is that even possible? I know there are some rough areas in the lower wards, but Optics is watching every other street in the entire city. You're saying you haven't seen this killer on camera once? You think we'd have let him kill 6 people if we did? Good point. Very good point. Well, I understand your concern, madam, but Optics is only what it says in the name. Private surveillance systems, signing up to feed into the state's security network. Well, it's not perfect. Just another one of the many public safety tools in our belt. It's not meant to be perfect. It's meant to help us solve crimes. Or at least act as a deterrent. One would hope so. Fat chance. Deterrents are for war rooms and board meetings. Anyone crazy or desperate enough to commit a crime in a city like this couldn't care less about anything as vague as the consequences of their actions. It's like a safety blanket, one with very few holes left in it. But it does have holes. Patching up those remaining holes takes effort, and that effort usually means rebooting the system. There's all kinds of technical details and digital bureaucracy involved. But the end result is that there are occasional localized blackouts. And the math used to schedule them is not impossible to predict. I see. But those windows of opportunity are small and short. Taking advantage of them requires specific knowledge. You need to be involved in law enforcement, hub data, or city planning. They'd have mentioned it if my client was a cop, and he wouldn't have needed a public defender either. His file says he's modded for heavy mass manipulation, not tech interfacing, so that just leaves city planning. So does he work for construction for the city? HK's only ever struck at times and locations where optics would be down. Even with the devil's own luck, it can't possibly be coincidence. Wait. So you're saying, when this woman was killed... Yeah, there was a wrong voice. Yeah, there was a blackout from around 8 to 9 tonight. Right on schedule, so to speak. And it included the area surrounding the victim's apartment. Well, what about DNA from the other crime scenes? Was my client a match? There's been no blood, no saliva, no suspect DNA at any of the crime scenes. No footage and no forensics. Also no motives, tampering, or witnesses. It's been like hunting a damn ghost. We didn't even have a murder weapon. Until now. Finally, a lucky break for the boys in blue. Scanners, cams, drones, forensics. No matter how you dress it up with tech, all detective work relies on one basic assumption. People make mistakes. But HK's the kind of monster who doesn't make mistakes. Only reason we even caught him tonight was because he finished what he set out to do all along. So was my client on the list of suspects before tonight? Weren't you listening? There was no list of suspects. We questioned some X's, a few CIs. Someone even spoke to 1 or 2 unlisted at some point. Nothing came of it. There was talk about starting in some kind of psych eval or something, but I never expected much to come from that. There's just not enough here to work with. In other words, the only thing they have, the only thing they could have, to link my client to those killings is the murder weapon. If I can jostle that keystone, then the rest of their case should start to come loose as well. Thanks for the chat, detectives. I think I understand the background well enough. Candidly, I see the same strokes you do, and the picture it paints isn't pleasant. But even so, it seems a bit unrefined to be brought before a judge, don't you think? Hey, it's only our job to catch the bastard. The DA is the one who gets the conviction. Besides, we're not exactly going to have to work hard to convince anyone of his guilt. And why is that? Because we found a handwritten confession at his desk. Well... that's great. Yeah, well... that's, unexpected. I'm sorry. You're now telling me that he wrote a confession? Has it been verified? Not yet. We have to muscle past everyone in fraud and disinfo to get to the front of that line. Man. Wow. Why bother? The note's covered in his fingerprints. There's a copy in discovery data, but I should warn you. It doesn't exactly make for light reading. I'll have to manage somehow. I need to see this confession for myself. Sorry for everything. Can't say it enough. Didn't mean to hurt you or do what I did. Did not want any of it to happen. Can't stay in control when I get mad. When I'm not in control, I hurt people without meaning to. Wish I hadn't broken them. Didn't mean to at first, but I was hurting. Wanted you to hurt too, but didn't want to hurt you. Words aren't enough, I know that now. I'll take responsibility and do what I've been avoiding. Please forgive me. That was difficult to read. Barely legible, in fact. Well, got a spin on that? No need. But it's a confession. Not a confession he signed, though, is it? Not yet. And not one he intends to sign anytime soon, considering he asked for representation. Yeah, the most wanted man in the city asked for a lawyer. Oh, wrong voice. And got you. Guess you're both lucky. Hardly. I just happened to be awake when the call went out. But I'm not so flush with work that I can afford to turn tail now. So if you don't mind, I'd like to go speak with my client. What? He's not still handcuffed in there, is he? Look, counselor, with all due respect, we have strong evidence pointing to that man being responsible for 6 murders. 2 hours or so in cuffs isn't cruel or unusual. And that's for your safety as well. It's kind of you to worry, but I doubt I'll be in any danger. He's killed 6 women. None of them were redheads. Oh, girl. Seriously, though, I'd like to speak with him alone now. Camera's off, if you don't mind. Mic's on or off is your call, counselor. But we'll be watching the feed from right outside in case anything happens. And the cuff, that is, stays on. That worried about me? How chivalrous. Yeah, my armor's practically blinding. Gross. I'll start up the unlock cycle. Counselor, just one last word of advice. If you have any interest in his well-being, I suggest you help him sign that confession. Not a bad idea. I do get paid either way. But the defense part of defense attorney isn't just for show, detective. I mean it. 6 people dead is one thing, but he's also caused weeks of widespread terror and public unrest. Putting it another way, he's made the state look bad. That's a capital crime if there ever was one. And even if the death penalty's not actually on the table these days, I can guarantee he's not gonna like whatever rehabilitation plan they draw up for him. Look, I've seen the virtual work release program in person, and it's being challenged before the Supreme Court. Yeah, sometime in the next decade, maybe. I do want to see what that is. Hold on. I know I have, like, a glossary. Here we go. Hey there! Whoa, what? Due to the ongoing controversy, search results are blocked. Okay, great, so I don't actually get to know what that is. Yippee and wahoo! Just remember, plea deal might feel like a loss for you, but if it keeps him from, well, that's probably a win for your client, right? Prison sentences are generally lighter for those who plead guilty. That much is true. Save the courts a great deal of time and money, and they show their gratitude with reduced sentencing. But no one will ever be grateful toward the Heartbreak Killer. Anyone convicted for killing 6 people, they'll never rest their mind another day in their life. Yippee! We live in a dystopia! Big Brother is watching! Hey! It's depressing as hell in here. They need to liven this place up. Oh, CG moment. Carlos flat, right? Hope you don't mind if I get comfortable. We've got a lot to cover. But this shouldn't take all night. What are you? Look, I already told you people, I'm not a cop, Carlos. Furthest thing from it. I'm a lawyer. Your lawyer, in fact. And I'm here to help you. Yeah, well, they said that too. All of them did. Back there and here, just keep repeating it the whole ride over. They said they were gonna help me. That they knew this was all a mistake. Then they said that I killed. Acting like they were on my side. And then they thought I could've. It's not their job to help you, Carlos. But it is mine. And I'm here now. He's still in shock. I need more information. But if I approach this the wrong way, he'll just clam up even more. I'm sure you're exhausted. It's probably difficult to think, let alone speak. But I'd like you to try and answer a few questions. The police already questioned you, I'm sure. They were treating you as a suspect, not as a client. Okay. So what do you want to know? Alright, let's just go down the list. Let's start simple. Something mundane, grounded. I'd like to know a bit more about you first, Carlos. Something like, what line of work are you in? I'm with city engineering. Or, I was. Or, I should be. As I thought, the police must be convinced he mapped the optics blackouts using data he stole from work. My arm, I got it slotted for the job. And, Carlos, I'm gonna need more than that. So, what do I know? He works in city engineering, not a desk job. Ray said he was modded for work, and that arm must be in custody at the moment, but based on his shoulder, it'd have to be pretty utilitarian, because it could, like, snap someone's neck, right? Yeah, utilitarian, yeah. He doesn't strike me as the type who's enamored with the aesthetics of modding. The young and restless, and the rich, swapping in neon and chrome limbs because they like the way it looks. Or the way it makes other people start looking at them. No. He's pragmatic, grounded, and very unlucky. In which case, I should be too. You know, my brother wanted to mod. Really? Really? I don't even have a brother. He had everything planned out. Whole career path of promotions and bonuses and the upgrades they'd afford him. Then came his 18th birthday present. Test results politely informing him that he's not a viable candidate. That sucks. I think he felt relieved, actually. Seemed like it was a weight off his chest. Like, he was glad he didn't have to choose. Does that make any sense? Yeah. I think it does. I always figured if I'd start at all, I'd start small. A hand or an eye. Test the waters. Never thought about lobbing my whole damn arm off, but the recruiter was enthusiastic. He said, because of the NCDA, there was financial aid and resources. Of course, that got shit canned, so now me and every other modder's royally screwed. Couldn't even let me keep the tax credit. It's getting a little too real. The new Citizens with Disabilities Act was amended, not repealed, but I doubt he'd appreciate the distinction at the moment. I worked the tighter spaces. High bolt environments, mostly canopy upkeep. Typical stuff for modders, you know? He's speaking freely now. Don't need to do much more than repeat his words back to him to keep talking. But the right word choice here or there can still make a difference. You work in the canopy? You must be... Alright, we can unlock this one. So let's go with it. You must be under a lot of pressure, now that the subways are cordoned off. Damn straight. And this crap with Long. Once word got out that the case against him was real, every desk job in the chain became terrified of their own shadow. All of them convinced that the internal affairs is gonna come knocking if they misplace so much as a paperclip. Everything by the books means no room for compromise, no room for problem solving, no room for engineering. Yeah. And no patience for screw-ups. He's trying very hard not to look at his shoulder. Why aren't you wearing your prosthetic right now, Carlos? Yeah, that. Rejection issues. Rejection symptoms. Okay, starting last month. That's probably what, related to the pills? A lot of sleepless nights. Rejection? Did the therapy not take? It's not like that. I wasn't oozing pus out of my sockets or anything. Then, do these rejection issues have anything to do with your scars? Not in the way you're thinking. Hmm? I'm right-handed. So those cuts on his face are just from shaving. Good lord. Never thought this would go on so long I'd have to relearn how to do everything. I mean, the problem started small, trembling, but then spasms. Just oversensitivity, they said. An easy fix. But the problem got bigger. Couldn't let it get that far. Need to be able to trust your own hands when you're on a job site. Drop a cutter at the wrong moment and people could get hurt. So I sat down, made an appointment, turned in my arm, and watched my case get placed at the back of the damn line. Where'd you turn it in? Some mass turnaround chop shop with a waiting list like you wouldn't. Doesn't sound like you're a happy customer. Hell no! I found a dozen other clinics with shorter wait times. But as long as I'm renting and not owning, the manufacturer decides where your arm gets maintenance. And that's why I'm sitting here with this expensive-ass stump for a shoulder. I haven't been able to work in weeks. Bosses were generous enough to say my position might still be there when I've got 2 working arms again. You couldn't buy or rent a replacement yourself, just in the meantime? I serve at the pleasure of the state. And they've got exclusivity contracts with Hindi, all locked up white-knuckle tight. Hindi? Howe Industries? As I recall, he's registered with one of their Habilis models. If I took one step on site with uninsured tech, forget the fines, I'd lose the down payment and my arm. And I'd never work in the city again. If this was last quarter, maybe I could have worked something out with management, but like I said, no one's sticking their necks out for anyone now that Long's in deep hot shit. You mentioned discomfort. Are you in pain? Pain will come and go. It's the itches that'll kill you. And the phantoms come back pretty fast when I don't have anything. Yeah, like phantom pain. Arm shape attached to me. Didn't they give you something to, well, wear in the meantime? Something the clinics lend out for cases like this? What they gave me is a deadweight, 3-jointed landfill bait piece of shit. Okay. Sorry, it's a very shitty feeling. Having a part of your body that you know they cut corners on. It fits. It's compatible, technically. I can slot it in and feel on balance again. But the fingers don't even bend, and the quick twitch monitors are way off. It's like walking around with your arm asleep. Or dead. So you were wearing it when... Let's say you were arrested. Let's be a little nicer. Were you wearing it when you were arrested? No, I wasn't. But I'm pretty sure I saw the police bagging it as evidence, so... Can't have gotten too far. So Detective Reyes was being quite literal about how he was found. He had the victim's blood on his left arm, only because at the time in question, he didn't even have a right. No inconsistencies in the story so far, and he's opened up about as well as can be expected. But this has all just been warm-up for the both of us. Now comes the delicate part. Carlos, you and the victim were romantically involved. How long did you two know each other? Right. I've known her since college. We shared a few classes, some mutual friends. Always got along. Eventually we just got together at some point. Guess I never actually asked her out the real formal way. Sounds pretty cowardly saying that out loud. Diane, she was in genetics. Focused her studies on agriculture. It always takes them a few tries to get used to the past tense. Just finished her post-grad work this year. Got hired right out of the gate. Practically headhunted. You believe that? Practically headhunted. Of course she was. Any company'd be lucky to have her. Unlike... It's a real-ass job. Paid real-ass money, too. So her career was starting to pan out. Right as yours had fallen into the mother of all slumps. Where was she hired? Pedigree? No, Perigee Laboratories. I say that like the name matters. Whole setup's under Harco's umbrella. That doesn't narrow it down. The Harvest Corporation grows a third of the soybeans and corn in the entire country. One client that size, the lab won't need any others. Now, no corporation earns the mega prefix without a little throat cutting. But Harco is about as tame as big business can get. Predictable like the seasons. No one's gonna buy that they had some lab tech murdered because of corporate greed. Had she adjusted well to her new job? Yeah, they loved having her there. She never mentioned arguments or disputes? Corporate politics getting rough? I don't think so. Not like I've been a good listener lately. But I never got the impression that she... Look, no one I know could do this to her. And there's nothing she could have done that would deserve what happened to her. It was a long shot, hoping for a disgruntled character from her past to shift blame onto. But with no other suspects, I can't just reshuffle the detective's suspicions. I'll have to disprove their argument entirely. Thank you, Carlos. That was very helpful. It was? Now, I'd like you to try and tell me whatever you can about what happened tonight. Start at the beginning and take your time. The details are important. Alright, Miss, Morgan. I'll try, Morgan. When you're ready. Alright, I think we're gonna take our break here real quick before we hop into the testimony. Before we get into the real nitty-gritty of it. So, y'all know the drill. Run to the bathroom, get a drink of water, get a snack. Do whatever you need to do, and we'll be back to continue this testimony in just a few minutes. All right, welcome back, everybody. Hope everyone had a good break. Yeah, no, I was just skimming chat. I really like this so far. Definitely, the writing is very, very good, which is usually the most important thing for me. Writing and characters. I haven't gotten super attached to the characters themselves yet, but that's like fair, we just started. But the dialogue writing is really, really good. Everyone kind of feels like they have their own voice and personality, and very realistic. The visual style is also quite good. So it's gonna come down to then how good are the cases? How good is the mystery in this mystery game? Because that's the only way I see the writing even potentially fumbling. But given how I've heard good things about this game, I'm pretty sure they'll pull it off. I'm not too concerned. So, with that out of the way, I guess let's find out if we keep going. We were arguing. We'd been arguing a lot lately. Arguing about stupid stuff. I haven't been working, haven't been making money, haven't been pulling my weight. I was mad at myself, but more than that, I was jealous of her. Jealous over nothing. Jealous over goddamn money. The reports say you were arguing around 8 p.m.? 8? Yeah, must have been when we started. We got into it and I said a lot of things that I shouldn't have. Ah, the classic. We got in a fight, I said bad things, and then they died. And I said one thing that I really, really shouldn't have. I crossed a line and we both knew it, so I left. You left? Yeah, walked out the front door. Thought some fresh air might help me cool off. Help me figure out what to say to make it up to her. Of course, the air wasn't fresh, just humid. Thick like mud. And while I was pissing away at the time, Diane was... Did you bring your phone with you? Or any other electronics? No. I kinda stormed off. Didn't even take my key fobs. Didn't even lock the door behind me. With optics down, traffic and street level cameras won't help him. That leaves. Did you go through a checkpoint or talk to anyone with modded eyes? Did you buy anything? Cash or credit? I wonder if her eyes are modded, because they keep changing from red to black, and I was wondering, is that, like, that could just be a stylistic choice, but I'm wondering if it means something more. No, not even a vending machine. I need to pay more attention to see if other characters do that. Not even a damn vending machine, huh? I may have met my match. How can anyone be this unlucky? That's quite unfortunate. I just wanted quiet at the time. Wanted to wallow in it, really. Sorry if I don't have all the details straight. My head is... But if my exact route would help, the cams probably... What? What? Oh, boy. Well... Optics was what? Can that even happen? And there's no other proof you were out at the time Diane was killed. Meaning you've got no alibi. This can't... Listen, I didn't do this. I couldn't... Carlos. I'm the one person you don't have to try to convince. After all, I'm your lawyer. So let's just get it all out there and see what we've got to work with. Right. Now, you've said you left to clear your head. So what made you come back? I came back because I heard a noise. A loud noise. Didn't know what it was, but it was loud, and it scared me. And it came from the direction of our apartment. Oh, so his eyes are orange now. But that just might be a filter? I don't know. I was walking back at first, but at some point I must have started running, because when I got back I was so out of breath. And when I saw that the front door was open, something dropped in my chest and my lungs wouldn't. You live on the first floor, right? Yeah, first floor apartment, street facing entrance. We were proud of that when we first moved in. Like it was some kind of big deal. From the hallway, I saw her, but I didn't realize. I never thought she was... The lights were off, the whole room was a mess. I thought we'd been robbed, or she'd fallen, or... There was broken glass, furniture knocked over. And she was... I called her name and she didn't move. I checked her pulse and she was still warm. Her blood was warm. And I saw the gun. I pulled an Edgeworth and just picked up the gun in shock. It looked so heavy, but I thought it had to be fake because I didn't want it to be real. Is that why you picked it up? What? Pick it up? I didn't touch that thing. Oh. That's not... I didn't shoot her, damn it. So you're lying? Yeah, doing what I do, you hear a lot of lies. White lies, blatant lies, hasty lies. Bad lies especially. For me, it's always been easy to spot a lie. It can be hard to know what to do about it. I have all the proof I need in my files, but I'm nervous and defensive. And none of this works if he doesn't trust me. Client says, stop giving you credit. Okay. You did touch the gun, Carlos. That's just a fact. And we know because of your prints. In fact, your fingerprints are on that gun. What? But I didn't do this. I wasn't thinking. I was just... Okay, so you did pull a... Yeah. Carlos, all I'm saying is that you picked it up. That's all. Would you believe me if I said I didn't realize it was a gun? That explains how his prints got on the gun, but not in a way that would satisfy the police. Still, all he did was hold the gun. So stupid. I know what a gun looks like, but seeing it in my own home, right in front of... You were in shock, Carlos. You still are. The police came in sometime after that. I don't remember much of what they said. Things started moving fast, it seemed like. The rest of my night went probably the way you'd expect. Carlos, you admit to having a verbal argument with Diane, but you said you were surprised to see the room trashed when you got back. To clarify, you're saying you two never had a physical fight? What? Physical? We never fought like that. Did the police say that we did? They assumed as much. Which means they also assumed the room was disheveled well before the shooting. Okay, so yeah, the knocked over pot and maybe the pot contents are going to be important to establishing the time frame, for sure. Considering what Carlos told me, what else did they assume? What is it? I'd like you to take a look at something for me. The crime scene. Oh. It's an AR module built from data taken as the police entered, so... right, it's just that, it's just data, Carlos. No grisly details. Okay. Let me see it. Take your time. Alright, I think I've got it. That's how the police found things. Now close your eyes and think back how the room looked when you left. Try and focus on what's out of place. Alright. I'll take notes. You just say whatever comes to mind. I don't remember exactly where everything was, but, well, the mirror was upright, of course, and that clock was still on the wall. Chair got knocked over at some point, and the bed got tossed, cushions torn, and the urn fell. Oh, the urn did fall? Other than that... No, sorry, that's all. Oh, wait, the urn fell after. I see. That's all that stands out to me. I see. Like so? Oh! That's not... What's wrong? Something out of place? Carlos, you need to trust your instinct. If anything seems off, don't be afraid to speak up. It's just, I guess I assumed your notes would be making edits to the AR. Well, I suppose that works too. Sorry, I didn't mean. I think your drawing was pretty good, considering. I'd like to change the subject now, Carlos. Right. Let's talk about the letter that was found on your desk. Letter? What do you mean? I mean this letter, here. Do you recognize it? Because the police are calling it a confession. A confession? But that's just a note to self. Pardon? Look, when we fight, I lose my temper. Say things I don't mean to. So this morning, I tried writing things down so I'd have a script to stick to. So I could apologize to her instead of just fighting with her. Carlos, you say in the note that you hurt them. I broke her fidget tubbies. Her what? like Furbies? Her what? Her fidget tubbies. Oh my gosh, look at those. Oh. They're these collectible ceramic character things. They're supposed to be like tactile. You use them as paperweights or conversation. You couldn't say I broke them, you had to say I hurt them. Or conversation starters. Conversation starters? She loved those little things. They're not worth a damn. You can buy them at any flea market or garage sale, but they meant a lot to her. And I broke them. I mean, I was pissy at the time, but that goddamn piece of shit rental arm, I hardly know where I'm swinging it half the time. I got so angry I ripped it off and tossed it in my room. That cheap, dusty, worthless. Okay, let's say he did break her frigiduckies with his replacement arm. What does that change? Is that what the broken things were on the ground? Nothing at the moment. There's not enough detail in the note for me to prove what his intent was when he sat down to write it. But if the police insist on claiming it's a confession for the Heartbreak killings anyway... Couldn't even... Okay, yeah, that's the things on the ground, for sure. Couldn't even bother to sweep them up. I felt so... Alright, Carlos. Thanks for answering my questions. Now, I'm gonna call the police back in here and get this cleared up for you. What? That's it? That's it? Oh, okay. Although, before I do that, I do have to ask. What do you know about the Heartbreak Killer? Heartbreak? You mean that psycho that was trending all month? I mean, as much as anyone, I guess. I haven't been getting out much, but I'm sure everybody's on edge. A guy like that out there, he shoots people through the heart, right? The police have kept the victim's appearances far away from any upstanding news sources. So unless he was already following the murders, Carlos wouldn't notice any resemblance to his girlfriend. I mean, she was shot in the chest, but that doesn't mean anything, does it? If he's this slow on the uptake, it's gonna be a real shock when those officers walk in here and accuse him of being a serial killer. I'll just have to squash that theory as quickly and definitively as possible. 4:04 a.m., June 5th, 2086. I didn't realize you could smoke in here. Technically, I can smoke wherever I want. For a fee. I guess so. Nervous? Don't be. I'm the one who's on the clock. Right. I'm sure this isn't your first time doing this. No, of course not. It'll be my first homicide defense, though. Oh. Why does everyone always think the first time's so goddamn important? Hey, cheer up. I've got relevant experience in other areas. Oh. And, what areas are those? You ever gamble, Carlos? No, ma'am. I never go anywhere near loot boxes. Good idea, King. We stan. I won't play gacha games either. They're so... Won't touch the stuff. I meant more like playing cards. Oh, well, then, no to that too. I've actually got pretty terrible luck. Could have fooled me. Well, what I do is a lot like poker, Carlos. Poker's nice because even if you're dealt nothing but crap all night long, you can still win. Which makes things pretty fun. Okay, so, do you have a good poker face? I like to think so. And are you lucky? Only when the stakes are high. And, in this metaphor, we're playing poker, and the state's the dealer. If only. No, the state's more like the house. You mean like the house always wins? Yes. They're very good at it. Winning, I mean. That's why they're up there, and we're down here. That's why they're the house. I think I'm gonna die in this house. So what do? We play the cards we're dealt, as best we can. Win more hands than we lose. Keep it up, and eventually, someone will come over, tap the deal on the shoulder, whisper something in their ear, and then we'll be politely asked to leave. That doesn't sound very triumphant. The house always wins. So our definition of victory is more like, don't lose. Thanks, Morgan. But I guess I was more asking, like, what should I say? Just leave all the talking to me. So that's the strategy. What's up? You know, there's a saying about gamblers with strategies. Yo, ready to confess yet? 'Cause I already woke up the DA. Already? Ugh, she must be new. The district attorneys have final say on whether or not a case is brought to trial. Only fair, since they're the ones who end up having to actually prove the damn thing. Most of them prefer simple guilty pleas over long, protracted trials. And they all dislike having their time wasted. Unfortunately, then, you'll have to call them back. Because my client is not guilty. And frankly, I'm not sure you even have enough to hold him here. Right. What she said. You've got a weird sense of humor, counselor. Different generations, I guess. Before my time kind of thing. I'm very serious when it comes to defending a man's innocence, detective. Counselor, we have your client's written confession. His written confession. Let's start there. Okay, well, we'll be happy to. The thrust of every argument starts with the facts. What's already known and agreed upon. Public knowledge for every player at the table. Is this gonna be like a card game? Is that how the arguments are gonna work out? Because they just did that whole poker thing. So, like, are the evidence gonna be the cards? And we're gonna have to, like, woo! It's pretty simple, counselor. Real paint-by-number stuff. Oh, yep, look at those card slots. See, we found a note at his apartment. With his fingerprints on it. Apologizing for how he hurt them all so bad. Now, how are you planning on spinning that? Those are the facts. But I've been building up my hand all night. And now I've got the weapon to answer everything they try and throw at me. Well, my client did write that note. And it was an apology. But not for murder. He was apologizing for... Select the card that answers the argument. Okay. You can mouse over... Okay. Cool. This one. He was simply apologizing for this. The hell is that? I found myself asking the exact same question. What are we looking at here? Something from the crime scene? This diagram of the room. It's created from the data you captured, right? Pure non-GMO augmented reality crime scene data. Yeah. What's non-GMO? Not much these days. But notice anything out of place? Yeah, the whole room's full of busted shit. It's a scene of a murder. Full of busted shit for sure. But I was more referring to the unidentified ceramic debris found on the western side of the room. The hell's that? Ceramic debris, huh? Must be from the vase that got tossed. See, that was my initial suspicion, but actually it's not possible. Because that vase didn't break. Yeah, it wasn't damaged. It's not possible for the debris to have come from the vase, because the vase is still pristine. How is that possible? The lady at the garage sale told me it was so old and delicate. Damn it, the one time I try and thrift shop on my own. Well, so what? What does it even matter? If the vase doesn't have a scratch on it, then the debris must have come from somewhere else. That debris is what my client wrote the apology over. You're saying the confession was his apology for not vacuuming? I am. Because that pile of rubble is all that remains of the victim's collection of fidgebob. Fidgetubbies. I like how this plays every time. What he said. Mr. Flat broke the victim's ceramic figures by accident. And this impassioned note to self was just his attempt at scripting out an apology. Can you prove that? We're taking this seriously? As much as I wish we weren't. We're all in agreement that my client wrote that note. And we can all plainly see there's ceramic debris at the crime scene. Now, since it couldn't have come from the vase, it must have come from the collectibles. Those things. Simple, right? The hell are you on about? The entire room was trashed, as the arcs clearly show. Those fidget tubbies must have gotten pulverized during the struggle, too. You really gonna claim he sat down to write an apology for breaking her toys after gunning her down? Not a bad train of thought, but I can do better. No. Those collectibles were destroyed much earlier than that. And there's proof. Alright, since we're doing mystery solving, I feel like we gotta pull out the book. Alright, when were the collectibles damaged? I feel like it's gotta be the rental arm, right? Because it would have the scratches on it. Just take a closer look at the rental you took into custody. Huh? One swipe of your fingers should show exactly how devastating it was to the Fickle Buddy ecosystem. It's fidget tubbies. Whatever. You did take it into custody. I'm sure your text found ceramic debris on it, yes? Now that you mention it. Fine, whatever. He broke them with his arm. While he was killing her. Happy? Oh yeah, the book is new. We did it at the 10K celebration stream. Overjoyed, because even a cheap arm's got an operating system that had logged the last time it was worn, right? Right. See, I happened to spot a footnote in the lab report. Said the rental hadn't been used since the AM. Whose side are you on, old man? It's gotten pretty late, sunshine. Just trying to save us all some time, where I can. Well, thank you for your service. Well, thank you for your service. Are you seriously buying this crap? Just look at how scrawled, how panicked that note is. It was, oh, he wrote it with his non-dominant hand. That's why it looks like that. He's right-handed. That's why it looks like shit. You expect me to believe he was that upset over a fidget tubby collection? One that hasn't even been... Oh, you definitely collect them. Setting aside Detective Ray's surprising depth of knowledge when it comes to collectibles, you're correct. They held no real monetary value. It would be odd for Carlos to be so shaken over their loss. But so what? So what? After all, that's not panic you're seeing on that page. No, the only reason the note looks the way it does is because Carlos is right-handed. Because Carlos is right-handed. Yeah, I am. Did they not know that? Shouldn't that be on my permanent record or something? Well, I want to check real quick, because I know I was comparing him to Edgeworth earlier. But if they actually did the same contradiction, where's the gun? Okay, the opponent's match is left hand. Was worth a shot, was worth a shot. So the reason why that note looks like asylum wall scribbles is just because he had to use his left hand to write it. I tend to think better writing than typing. And I needed to get used to using my left anyway. I just thought it could be good practice. Taking that into account, alongside the ceramics, your slam dunk confession is looking about as watertight as a fishnet. Okay, fine. Forget about the confession. Congratulations, counselor. You've established your client's remorseless. Now, let's get back to the reality of the situation. Here are the facts. We found your client at the scene of the crime, wearing a coat covered in the victim's blood, right next to a big old goddamn gun that just so happened to have his fingerprints on it. That's right. That coat is... What? You gonna claim it's not his? That he actually wears it extra small? She's trying to bait me in her typical low-key fashion. As arguments flow, you won't always have the stronger hand. Sometimes the best you can do is hold your tongue to a bit overcommitting. Try to lose as little credit as possible while waiting for a more favorable chance. She must have something. No sense playing into it. Something you'd like to ask me, detective? I'm just curious. What'll it be next? You gonna tell me he actually wears an extra small? He doesn't wear XXS. Okay, I have to stay. I can't even... Alright, we're gonna hold. Gee, Carlos. Do you? No. Yeah, sure there's no evil twin you've forgotten to mention? There's no evil twin. No, I'm afraid not. Not even gonna go for a mysterious third party at the scene of the crime. To prove his innocence, I'll need to get there eventually. Going there now without hard evidence. I can prove a third party. I cannot prove a third party. I have no evidence of a third person at this time. Damn right you don't. It's clear as day in the arcs. No evidence of anyone but Carlos being there that night. That's where we gotta get, so keep dreaming. It was obvious she had something there. I wasn't gonna win that hand either way. But at least I didn't overstep and take any more damage than I had to. We're not contesting any of that, detective. My client freely admits to holding that gun. He picked it up in confusion after coming home to find a brutal crime scene. Which was not smart. Hey. But not illegal either. And that's all? He had her blood all over his clothes. Yeah, he did. Right. Do you have those clothes on hand, by the way? The lab's finished with them a while ago. Maybe it's something like... Because I don't know how far the blood splatter would have gotten. Depending on where he shot... Because we said he shot her from the doorway. So... If he shot her all the way from the door, I don't think the blood splats would match the blood on the clothes. The way that it, like, patterned is my guess of where they're gonna go with this. What are you getting at? It'll be easier to just show you. Would you mind getting them for me? You know what? Sure. I could use fresh air. Stinks of bullshit in here anyway. And here I thought the room smelled like... Psst. Morgan. What are you doing? My coat's covered in her blood. I remember that much. So doesn't that, like, make me look really bad? Just relax, Carlos. I'm pretty sure that's impossible. I really like Carlos. He's really funny. You're innocent. And that means having more evidence will always help you, not hurt you. Really? Really. Not really. LMAO. Plenty of innocent people in prison. People with bad luck, or bad lawyers. People shouldn't count on the truth to come out easy. More often than not, it takes coaxing. What was it that reminded me of? Alright, here it is. One blood-stained jacket, fresh from the lab. So, what's your angle? You gonna tell us this is actually just hot sauce? No. That'd be silly. She actually thought it over. So what the hell's your point? Hey. Sorry, just got thrown off by the turn of good fortune. What good fortune? You should thank the detective for bringing you your jacket, Carlos. She's just proven your innocence. My client was arrested wearing this coat. He would have been wearing it at the time of the murder. It has the victim's blood on it, who we know died when she was shot in the heart by a gun that happens to be an old-world, pre-tagging firearm. And so, this coat proves he couldn't have been the shooter. Is there a gas leak in here? In what world does that make any sense? Sense happens to be key here. I just need to draw their attention to what they can... It's gotta be see. We don't need to smell it. We don't need to feel it. Yeah, we have to look. No, where is it? There we go. Just tell me what you see. I see a coat with a lot of dead woman blood on it. And you? Oh, I'm wrong? That's not gonna work. Truth is plainly there, but isn't the kind of detail you can see with your... Okay. I'm clearly on the wrong train of thought, then. What sense you use don't matter. Client was wearing the coat. It has the blood. We know she was died by a gun that happens to be an old-world pre-tagging firearm. Oh, it doesn't smell like gunpowder? Is that what they're gonna say? That it doesn't smell like gunpowder. I'll bet that's it. Just do me one favor, detective. Tell me what you smell. I don't smell anything except dried blood. Exactly. The coat smells like blood, but it doesn't smell of... cigarette! That's what I've been smelling. Okay, London, thanks. Yes, Detective London, I was smoking earlier. Could you rejoin the conversation? I've been listening. You wanted me to smell the jacket? If you would. Let's see. Huh. No gunpowder. What? What about gunpowder? Oh, don't blame yourself for not noticing. This was before your time. You can't be more than a few years older than me. But not before your partners, it seems. See, gunpowder's weak by today's standards, but it's still volatile stuff. Hard to store, prone to misfiring. And when it goes bang, it leaves behind an awful lot of evidence. The hell is she talking about, London? Modern firearms, like the ones we carry, use electricity, magnetism, even air pressure or sound waves. They've got more accuracy, more firepower, less recoil, less noise. And they don't leave behind any residue. Gunpowder residue? You talked my ear off about how difficult it is tracking down a gun that doesn't leave digital traces. But a revolver like this one? It'd leave gunpowder on the skin of whoever fired it for days. So then his coat... If you don't trust your noses, you can check the lab reports. I think if they found any gunpowder on my client or his clothes, they'd have taken the time to highlight it. Well, whatever. That just means he washed off after shooting her, or he changed his clothes. That's not impossible, but it'd be pretty pointless. Huh? His jacket and his left hand were both blood-soaked when your officers found him. Would he really go through all the effort to get rid of something as subtle as gunpowder residue? Just to get the victim's blood all over himself afterwards? In light of these details, I'd like to formally request that you reconsider the charges Mr. Flatt is facing. As soon as possible. Whoa. They're faltering now. Should topple over at any moment. The letter was mostly icing on the cake for them, but that gun is all they had to link Carlos to any of the shootings. So if it looks like he never actually fired the gun... I'll admit, things were a little dicey there at times. But once I was able to grasp the situation, the smaller pieces fell into place easy enough. Not my cleanest work by far, but overall I'd say... Did she get a message? Yeah, we're not done yet. Absolutely not. We gotta have our big climactic turnabout. With a pursuit theme and all. Wait, did they actually manage to find it? Something you'd like to share, Detective Reyes? You're good. Twisting the truth into knots, making the facts work for you. Thanks. But your luck just ran out. Because the next scrubbers found a cam active at the exact moment of the shooting. And right now, I'm staring at a photo of the killer. Wanna bet? A photo of the shooter. If she had that, we wouldn't still be talking. But I doubt she's just pulling this out of her ass. She's got something from the scrubbers. She must have something. I don't think she's bluffing. I think she has something. I'm not sure I follow, Detective. Didn't we establish there was an optics blackout during the shooting? Sure, there was. This isn't from... Wait. Did I accidentally click raise? Good thing I held my tongue. I was gonna say. Hold on. Good thing I held my tongue. I just lost as little credibility as I could. As I thought, the scrubbers must have been able to dig up something from outside the network. Which means... Party's over, counselor. Feast your eyes on this. What am I looking at? Well... Okay, the quality is lacking. And yet, there it is. They managed to find a quarter needle of evidence in a whole city block of haystacks. What are the goddamn chances? No, with the scale their tools operate on, I guess the chances are, as always, in their favor. Dang. Alright, this isn't good, but it's a far cry from the worst case scenario I envisioned. You could even say I got lucky, which means the stakes are... well, it's a little bit blurry. Don't look at me, I didn't take the damn thing. Technically, no one took it. Looks like at the time of the shooting, a neighbor was on their phone. Probably venting about how crazy the couple across the way was acting. But if their phone was on, its camera would be on. And so we managed to get this shot through the window. Where to begin? Through the window? What does facing the city street mean? Because I'm trying to figure out how their windows would have been laid out, you know? Far away, unfocused, ultra low resolution, zoomed in, blurred, color shifted, and so compressed it looks like it's from another century. There are tools that could enhance this image any further, and I could count the pixels on one hand. And you could kiss its admissibility in court goodbye. Tch. You can't honestly claim that you can identify my client from this image. And there's no way in hell you could get that past a judge. Yeah, you're probably right. We couldn't. But I think I know a DA that could. Either way, doesn't seem like your client's leaving the police station anytime soon. I gotta look at that picture again. Hang on. Where's the terrible picture? Coat, debris. Do I not have it? Really? I don't have it. Okay. That photo. What the hell is happening to me? Think I know a DA that could? Don't be so modest, old man. We have photo evidence of a left-handed shooter standing in the hallway at the same time the whole neighborhood heard a gunshot. Yeah, but is his other arm on? That's what I wanted to look at again. I wanted to see the picture again, because did the shooter have two arms? Because we're kind of at an issue if he did. And who do we know that had their left-hand fingerprints? Oh! Can we also bring up the fact that, like, we said that this shooter, right, is shooting everybody with, like, incredible precision. Like, pow, 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 right through the heart, no wavering, perfect shot every time. If he's left-handed, how the hell was he gonna shoot a gun with that accuracy with his non-dominant hand? Let alone a gun with, like, a shit ton of recoil, like an old world gun. It just makes no sense. You're referring to my client. You think? We've established he wasn't wearing his modded arm at all tonight. So he must have shot with his left. Yes, and we've also established he's weak with his left side. A left side that had no gunpowder whatsoever. Forensics will never be perfect, counselor. Sometimes we'll miss things. Sometimes you take a walk through the rain, and when you finally get where you're going, you somehow end up dry. But that doesn't mean it didn't rain. All of which to say, before judge or jury, photographic evidence outweighs a failed sniff test. Carlos is innocent. I know he is. But that photo shows a left-handed shooter. Carlos is innocent, and that photo is real. If both are true, then that means the photo doesn't show what it appears to show. So, at a loss for words, never. I'm just confused about one thing. Where was this photo taken from exactly? See, I'm also considering like the window, because they said they had a street view apartment, and I don't know the slang of apartments, but that could mean this angle was not possible. Because I felt like that was a very specific detail that they focused on. Exactly. Positional data is usually only accurate to the nearest public router. If we DN on the phone's owner and ask him where, why bother with any of that? Ballistics and oh, we can't see the other arm, that's why. Tells us the perp shot from the room's doorway. Hold on, I'm gonna Google what that exactly means, because I don't want to like go off on a tangent. Direct views of the sidewalk. Anyway. The front entrance of the apartment faces the south, and there's a hallway that runs back to the bedroom. We're looking straight at the shooter, so it's pretty obvious it was taken from across the north window. From the north. This is from the north. Then why can we clearly see the... It's not that complicated. The neighbor who got the shot must live on the other side of the street. So we're looking at the bedroom from the north window. She's wrong. I should choose the opportunity to start turning the tide. She's right, the photo was taken from the north. I think... I'm not as confident, so we're gonna do a... What is it, F5? Quick save. I think that worked. I'm not entirely sure. Oops, sorry. I put the cat on. Hello? VTube Studio, please work. One moment. Technical difficulties, please stand by. I'm just gonna give it a second, hope the model fixes itself, but the stream still seems to be running fine, so I'm not gonna... Oh, okay, hold on. There we go, we can put those away and we'll be good to go. I kind of think she's wrong, but we're gonna save anyway. I'm afraid that's simply not possible, Detective. This photo has to have been taken from the west. What kind of bluff is that supposed to be? The good detectives are misinformed here, and I need to take advantage of it. Time to press the initiative. The hell do you mean this was taken from the west? The autopsy tells us the victim was shot from the doorway. Your officer's ARC data tells us that the precise location of everything in the room at the time it arrived. And now, your photo has shown us the exact moment of the shooting. And you can now raise the ante on a hand up to the current max. Answer wrong and you'll lose more credit, but answer correctly and you can bank more credits for trickier hands down the line. Altogether, that tells us this photo must have been taken through the west window, as long as you consider... Alright, so we gotta up the ante. Sleeve, mirror, the vase, or the gun. I'm pretty sure it's the mirror. Just take one look at the clock in that photo. The clock? What about it? The clock, huh? Seems like London's got an idea. If he's mistaken, I could pounce on it and keep my tempo high. This photo was taken right before the shooting, so yeah, see, the time... Wait, don't tell me the time of death is wrong. No, the time of death is right. He's wrong, the time of death is correct. Oh, I see. You would think their autopsy would know. He's wrong. The time of death is correct. I think the all right, let's try this. This might be messed up. It's a good question, Detective London, but the answer is no. The autopsy? Yeah, okay. That's what I was like, the time of death is right. I was pretty sure. The autopsy, the clock, and the neighbors all agree the time of death was 9 p.m. Right, no mistake in that. So then what the hell were you on about? There's a clock on the wall in this photo. Analog style. And it reads 9 o'clock. 9 p.m., the time of the shooting. The hell's so special about that? Nothing. There's nothing odd about the time the clock reads, but... Do you remember there being a clock in the room? What? Actually, I don't recall there being a clock. That makes sense. You wouldn't recall seeing a clock, because when the police secured the scene, the clock had already been knocked onto the floor. And the only clock in that room is in the northeastern corner. And my client has informed me, before the crime, it was hung up on the eastern wall. Like so. What the hell is that supposed to be? An artistic rendition? It's, very distinct. If you have information on how the crime scene was before the shooting, why didn't you just add that to the arcs? And show you my hand? Just because discovery law compels us to share info, doesn't mean we have to play fair, Detective. Slipped my mind. I'll do that now. The important thing is, if the clock was on the eastern wall before the shooting occurred, then this photo must be looking through the western window to see it. Don't start getting ahead of yourself. The victim was shot at 9 p.m., the same time this photo was taken of the shooter. But you want to claim the clock's still on the eastern wall, when it would have been knocked down during the fighting. You've got your logic backwards, Detective. Your precious photo shows that the room was in pristine condition at the time of the shooting. And there's one other piece of evidence that proves exactly how the cards fell. The room was trashed before the shooting. And do the whoa, hello. Vase, revolver, glass. Shards fell onto victim. There you go. Shards fell onto victim, that's it. Bring me up the ante. I'm confident. Glass shards? What about them? Nothing much, really. Only that they're on top of the victim's body. And not under it. If the glass fell on top of the victim's body, that would mean that she was dead on the ground before the room got trashed. But that doesn't make any sense. Why would anyone trash the room afterwards? It's a good question, Carlos. Luckily, it's the detectives who have to delve into the minds of the criminally insane, not us. Tell me, detectives, was there a sign of a struggle at the other crime scenes? The other crime scenes? No, nothing like that. Those attacks would have been over in a matter of seconds. So what did you think when you saw the mess in the bedroom? That this was personal and things had gotten complicated. Shit happens. Shit does happen, Detective. But in this case, it seems there's been a general misconception about the order in which shit happened. So what if the room didn't get tossed over until afterwards? He still shot her. And we have a photo right here. And I'm glad you do, Detective. Because that photo proves my client's innocence. Huh? Proving that it wasn't my client who pulled the trigger is difficult and, maybe more importantly for all of us, time-consuming. But thanks to your photo, I can instead prove that it couldn't have been my client who pulled the trigger. Because the man in that photo cannot possibly be Carlos. Like hell it can't. glass shards prove the room was pristine at the time of the shooting. Is the image backwards? That's what I'm thinking. Like, maybe it's the other arm. And we know that until the room was tossed, that clock was on the eastern wall. Which means the photo of the shooter was taken from the west. Back to this shit. That's impossible. The only hallway in that apartment runs from north to south. The only person with prints on that gun is your client. And the only fact that matters is that he used it to murder 6 innocent people. You're a very honest person, Detective. Excuse me? That's why you're such a shitty gambler. You've played your cards too early, and now I can steal the pot right out from under you. You're right about the hallway's orientation. You're right about the prints. And this HK figure has claimed 6 lives. But we aren't looking at the hallway in that photo. What? What we're seeing is the arm, the mirror, those things, optics, victim. It's the mirror. It's backwards. It's backwards. We're going all in. Oops, that's not it. It's kind of hard. There we go. That shit is backwards. What is that? You're trying the glass shards again? Sort of. By the way, do you recall where those glass shards came from? Yeah, sure. They came from a standing mirror. A mirror that, at the time of the shooting, stood across the room from the western window. But then, that would mean, at that angle, from that viewpoint, it would reflect the hallway. So we're not seeing a shooter with a gun in their left hand. We're seeing a killer take aim with their right arm. And, as we all know, my client hasn't had a working right arm in a number of weeks. And he hasn't worn his rental since this morning. So I meant what I said about that photo. I'm glad it was recovered. Because it just proved that my client couldn't possibly have committed the crime. That should be the end of it. Except it looks like Detective Reyes really is a novice gambler. Sunk cost has gotten its teeth in her now, clawing up her spine, whispering wounded pride in her ear. It's a cold sweat, hot palms kind of fever. The impotent, irrational fury of losing something you thought was guaranteed yours. But lucky for you, Detective, I'm well versed in shock therapy. You look dissatisfied, Detective Reyes. That's one word for it. Then allow me to put a nice bow on everything for you. In summary, my client's so-called confession was just a note to self. The police found him in shock, reeling at the death of his girlfriend, and arrested him for being next to a gun he forensically couldn't have fired. After being confronted with these facts, you received photographic evidence of the exact moment of the shooting. And instead of utilizing said photo to track down the real killer, you tried to claim it depicted my client, a man without the requisite limb, standing in an architecturally impossible hallway. He could have had a backup arm. He could have stolen one. A little stubbornness can be charming, but this kind of desperation is ugly. It's getting late. Time to bare my fangs. A bit. That's the best you've got? Even a bare-bones prosthetic off the black market needs to be attuned to an individual's nervous system. He'd have to bring it into the clinic, which would have left a record on his shoulder OS. A record you won't find. And he'd still have to have somehow gotten rid of it before the police arrived. SOP at the scene of a violent crime calls for full-spectrum scanning of the entire building and 100 meters around it, minimum. So where, Detective Reyes, did he manage to hide a cybernetic arm from your drones in the time between the shooting and his arrest? Well... Any objections? Detective? God. Damn it! We won! We did it, everybody! Very cool art at the end there. Show me your hand, Flat. You're uncuffing me? In light of the evidence, we have no reason to hold you. Now I gotta go call the DA and tell her I made a mistake. Not we made a mistake, huh? Listen, kid, you should know. Detective? Lost my train of thought. But, hey, your attorney's a real tiger. She just fought like hell for you. Make sure you thank her properly. Public defense doesn't pay that well. Yeah. That's kind of you to say, detective. But my work is its own reward. Sure. I feel exactly the same, counselor. What happens now? I'll have to speak with the DA about the dismissal. And there's still some paperwork we'll need to go through. But basically, you're free to go. Congrats! You get to leave the casino with your kneecaps intact. Yay? But what am I supposed to do? The detectives will continue their investigation. Their investigation into heartbreak, huh? Yeah. When the authorities are satisfied with their examination of the body, she'll be handed over to the next of kin, and then you can make funeral arrangements. No, that's not what yeah, like, he doesn't have a job to go back to is kind of the issue here, and the breadwinner is dead. Diane being gone is bad enough. But a serial killer? It's like she died of the flu. It doesn't happen anymore. Or that, too, I guess. People die of the flu all the time, but I know what you mean. I can't make sense of it. So, what am I supposed to do? Hell if I know. There are some contacts I could give you. Services, professionals, doctors. No, you've done more than enough for me. When you got here, I was too tired to even defend myself. To try and convince them that I didn't... You saved me. Thank you. You're welcome, Carlos. But it's my job to... No, I mean... Thank you for not asking. Huh? For not asking if I killed her. Oh, Carlos. I didn't need to ask. I knew you were innocent from the start. Of course he was. 'Cause I'm the killer! After all. Oh my god! Oh, we gotta clip that one. Well, foreshadowing is a literary device. The blood's always different. Heart's always in the same place. Easy to find. Hard to miss. But the blood's always different. A flowering stain, unfurling towards an invisible sun. A perfectly unique bloom. Only one for each of us. A Rorschach test with a singular, universal meaning. Vitality at its climax. Bringing forth into a red fractal consisting solely of an infinite. The end. But the comical thud of the body hitting the floor has its own kind of lowbrow appeal. Well, I knew something funky was up. I knew she was kinda... Yeah, I can't say I'm too surprised, honestly. Bullet number 6 of 6. Gun's empty. It's useless to me now. Might as well leave it. Feels like a waste, but whatever. Finding the ammo was almost enough of a hassle to outweigh the advantages. I could sell an untagged gun for a fair bit of cash, but cash can't buy you peace of mind. Oh, don't look so surprised, lady. Moping around the dark in here, must have only been able to see my silhouette. Did she think I was her boyfriend, back for an encore of that enthralling conversation? Can't ask her now. Hey. Yeah, did you hear that? These old pieces are so goddamn loud. People aren't even familiar enough with the sound anymore to know to run the other way. Probably roused half the neighborhood. But I didn't see anything I could use as even a partial suppressor on the way in. Could they really not afford some throw pillows? I used the other 5 bullets in outdoor spaces, in small spheres of blind opportunity that the city's eyes couldn't think to pierce. Cramped places, usually full of trash. This room, cheap as it looks, it's at least clean. Organized, even. So the corpse adds a certain satisfying contrast. Except... there's shit on the floor. By the window, there's some broken pieces of something fragile and tacky. It's fine. It's just one thing out of place. Actually, it's not fine. It's actually really irritating. I kick over the stupid goddamn mirror. 5 perfect crime scenes. Each of them not a speck of evidence. Nothing to go on. And for the final shot, there just has to be some pile of shit in the corner ruining everything? I kick the wall. Something falls from it. Probably more tasteless bullshit. Toss over the chair. Knock the urn. Tear into the sheets with my frustration to try and savor the shredding. It can't be clean. I'll just have to lean into the messy angle. At least it'll be... consistent. This was all so stupid. Honestly, I'm not the ego-driven type. In fact, I pride myself on my humility. Now, was it satisfying when the first 3 went down with single shots? Yeah. But so what? I'm not made of stone. After that, I did start to actively aim for the heart, but... ugh. Heartbreak killer? Really? Don't people have anything better to do with their time? What kind of miserable, lifeless voyeurs would obsess over something that's none of their business? All the threads and breakdowns and the goddamn theory crafting. And all for the heartbreak killer. Sounds like a soap opera villain from a season where the writers were on strike. I feel insulted by the label, but no. That's someone else's name. They came up with it. They spread it. They marketed it. Heartbreak's got nothing to do with me. He's just some reclusive, lonely, socially impotent loser who shot 6 people because... well, I'm sure people will come up with something. That he got rejected one too many times, or whatever. Me? I killed those people because I saw them and I wanted to. And I've killed a lot more than just 6. At least the room's thoroughly trashed now. If I had just walked away after seeing that mess by the window, it would have irritated me to no end. And now that it doesn't match the MO of the last 5 perfectly, it'll irritate the cops to no end instead. Good riddance, Heartbreak. You enjoy your 15 minutes in the spotlight. Really savor it. I'm going home. The air's weighty tonight. Thick. Energized. A heavily foreshadowed summer rain I can feel on every hair. They call this kind of humidity oppressive, but I disagree. The warm tension on your skin, like in those short moments just after the shower turns off, when the steam lingers. Yeah, it's always the most comfortable right afterwards. Maybe there's no disagreement to be had. Oppressive things can be comforting too. Only the guilty ones run. I don't know about that. But I know I've never felt guilty about any of this. And I walk. Alrighty. Yeah, she's fine, guys. Very normal. Very normal. Sorry, using my left is still... That's okay. You can just initial in those spots. I took a scenic route home, courtesy of our fine city's sprawling public transportation, and got in a bit after 11 p.m. Had myself a thorough shower, drank a glass of milk, did some stretching, made sure my phone was on. Time went by evenly. Around 1:40 a.m., a posting for public defender work came up. Decent rate, since it was so late and urgent. I had wagered correctly that the boyfriend would have enough courage to ask for a lawyer, and enough debt that he'd need to be provided one. All I had to do was stay awake. There wasn't much competition after 1 in the morning. Okay, where else? Here and here. How did I phrase it earlier? Criminal defense attorneys aren't exactly flush with customers. Why wouldn't I take on a job where I already knew more than the cops? It would have been easy to convince Carlos to plead out. I would have gotten paid the same, too. But easy is dangerous. Carlos was, of course, innocent, so his conviction would never be airtight. There would be doubts, questions, appeals, maybe even fans, depending on his looks. Ugh, too true. More attention on HK and his crimes, more headaches. A cold case running in the very far back of the public's awareness is always preferable to one open and shut in haste. Now, with no more murders matching HK's MO, there won't be any additional public pressure to find a culprit. Now, Heartbreak can just starve to death, out of sight and mind like any other fluke in the system. Almost done. Getting involved with the case this intimately does have its risks. Hell, I might have even overdone things here or there. Like lighting up a smoke inside the interrogation room just to make doubly sure I didn't smell of gunpowder myself. Damn. That London fellow seemed more fixated on it than I would have liked. But, obviously, everything turned out rosy. And it's worth it for the finality of it all. Seeing the authorities' failings from the best seat in the house, that's just a bonus. Thanks again, Morgan, for everything. I'm sure Diane is grateful, too. I am very this game was good. It was really good. Now, I'm very intrigued. Funny. I didn't even know her name. Something the matter? No, sorry, it's just... I was mad when I left the apartment. I know she was too. So, when she died... Death was instantaneous, Carlos. I can't imagine that she was in any pain. In fact, I can guarantee she was dead before she hit the ground. No, I know, but... I just keep thinking she must have died angry at me. That she must have died hating me. We gotta do the make you feel better thing at the end. To tell you the truth, Carlos, there's something I've been wondering about myself. What is it? Something I noticed in the ARC's data that I didn't quite understand. Piece of the puzzle I couldn't fit in anywhere else. But maybe you can make sense of it. These are for your rejection symptoms? What is the... Where did you find that? Okay, so if we didn't snoop around the crime scene again, we wouldn't have been able to find that. That pill organizer was found on the victim. She had it grasped in her hand when she died. Obviously, the police added it to the ARCs, but it was quickly ruled irrelevant. Seems like it contained that word, prescribed to help modders with phantom itches. They're small tablets, and those tricky clasps, too, for a pill organizer. It'd be hard to handle with an unsteady hand. No one will ever know what she was feeling when she died. Even if they did, feelings are complicated. You can feel angry, happy, and sad all at the same time. But as far as facts are concerned, it would appear that when she died, what she was doing was setting out your medication for the week. To my eyes, anyway. That was sweet. If only we weren't playing as the person who murdered her. Long night. That was too far just now. Practically rubbing it in his face. It's not like I care about his feelings. I doubt I'll ever see him again. But overstepping like that is pure hubris. And hubris invites a downfall. So, why? Why did I even bother? It was the last piece of the puzzle, I suppose. I'll just need to show more restraint next time. Though there won't be a next time for Heartbreak. The gun's in custody. There's no bullets left. There won't be a 7th victim. There won't be any more leads to pursue. The media will move on to their next obsession. I'll move on to my next MO. And no one will ever... Oh, fuck. Alright. Hey! Found you. District Attorney Rockford. What's up, Pookie? Sorry, can I try that again? I'm so fried. By all means. Ugh. Counselor Morgan. Morning, noon, or night. You're always so... put together. Thank you. I don't get it. How do you sleep at night? Pardon? You do white noise? Aromatherapy? Whatever you're doing, I need to steal it. God. I must have bags under my eyes dark enough for dumpsters. Assistant District Attorney Emma Rockford. She's a prosecutor. Oh boy. Okay. The lawyer who argues for the state in court, trying to prove a defendant's guilt. And despite her sometimes unkempt appearance, she's probably the sharpest person to fill a position in decades. I should know, since I haven't beaten her once. Worse yet, she has the remarkable ability to compartmentalize all that adversarial energy and only bring it out in the courtroom. It's part of what makes her good at her job. And hard for me to read. Should I buy a new mattress? What if they got you doing at this ungodly hour, Emma? Oh, well, actually, I'm here for you. Me? Your client was a suspect in the Heartbreak killings. That's my case. Well, then you must have been relieved, finding out that you won't have to go to trial against me. No? Why would I be worried about going up against you? It's always the unintended barbs with her. So, you're working with those detectives? Yeah, London and the new girl, Reyes. They've been reporting to me in preparation for the trial. Preparation for the trial? That seems ambitious. I guess they gave you the rundown. They've been doing everything they can, but it's hard to catch a killer who leaves behind so little. And hard to kill without leaving so little behind. So, Reyes told you they had HK in custody and you popped out of bed all excited to run down here? Hardly. I haven't slept in 40 hours. Too much on my mind. So, when I heard about a case with a single female victim shot through the heart, yeah, my ears perked up. But that's about all. Oh. I mean, Carlos Flat, a serial killer. The same serial killer that's outsmarted the state for weeks. She's not using his middle name. He was found with the murder weapon. But I can answer that any number of ways. Sure, we'll do the sleeve, I guess. That may be true, but then I glanced at the report. You glanced at it? No gunpowder residue on him or his clothes. Right. Too remorseful. Too apologetic in that note. Whatever it was about. His dominant arm? Modded. With documented sensitivity issues? Never could have made shots that clean. Not without getting close enough to leave scorch marks. Not to mention he's too tall for the ballistic entry angles. And probably too heavy not to leave imprints. She got all that from a glance? But I'm sure a competent lawyer like yourself pointed all that out the minute you walked in here. Of course! Worst part is, she's not even being sarcastic. Yeah, of course it couldn't have been him. Long-term relationship, physically imposing, argumentative, so not the type to bottle things up. He didn't match the profile. Profile? Yeah, Oh, right, sorry, you've never heard of it. I know what a goddamn profile is. A profile is a reconstruction of a criminal's psychology, based on evidence from their crimes. Kind of fallen out of fashion for the last few decades. Not much need to guess about the why when 99 times out of 100, who is caught on camera. Or before they even leave the house. I've had to find some real fossils and oddballs to get advice on how to go about it. But I think I'm getting the hang of it. Alright, let's just go down the list. So this profiling, it's some kind of investigative technique? The theory is that a crime can tell you something about the nature of the person who committed it. Stabbing, overkill, points to passion, rage, lust. They probably knew their victim. Poisoning guns, meanwhile, suggest they can't overpower their victims physically. And then there's the things you can assume about nearly all serial offenders. Childhood trauma, prior criminal record, few or no meaningful attachments. There's a lot of recurring themes in their stories. The detectives say HK doesn't leave evidence, so how much can his crimes possibly tell you? That he's diligent, almost perfect, highly intelligent, painstakingly organized, and with enough criminal connections to get his hands on an untagged firearm. It's rare to see her this animated outside the courtroom. It's almost like she's enjoying herself. A sheltered house cat who picks up the scent of a mouse for the first time. A lone wolf, educated, but all her playfully lethal instincts coming to life. Probably overqualified or undervalued, though I'm not thrilled about the fact that in that metaphor, I would be the... Know what I mean? Definitely! And considering the marksmanship. The detective said HK would have needed insider information on optics. So, does that mean Heartbreak's in law enforcement? Never in 10 billion years. Oh god. Is this Yuri? I would love this to be Yuri. Oh. Antisocial, independent, despises authority. That'd be like a stallion applying for a job on a merry-go-round. It is giving Death Note. It is very much giving Death Note as well. They'd be kicking kids in the head after the first full rotation. Right. That's, exactly how I'd put it. There must be some connection to the police, though. Maybe secondary or tertiary. These types can't help but insert themselves. Insert themselves? I do not I don't even do anything resembling that. Wait, if HK is not a cop, how did they know about the blackout timing? Crime media statistics analysis. Probably. Pardon? Take the emergency response times from across the city and map them out. Look for brief spikes and delays, chart out the dips, and... Sorry, technical, I know. But all the requisite data is publicly available. The map, a spreadsheet, and a calculator? Anyone could reverse engineer the timing if they wanted to. That is such an unpleasant thought, Emma. Emma's so cute. I love Emma. Well, at least this heartbreak maniac will slow down now that he's lost his weapon. He didn't lose it. He chose to leave it behind. That tells me he's confident he can do just fine without it. And it makes me even more certain that these aren't his only kills. Were there other shootings with the same MO? No, not that I found. Other victims that fit the description? No. But I'm not overly focused on the victim's appearance anyway. I mean, these 6 victims all look like each other, but they also look like a lot of people. Emma also has brown hair and brown eyes. Morgan, what do you mean by that? That's true. Hell, they kind of look like me. This is toxic Yuri. We need a count of how many times I say something and then 2 lines later the game says it. Sure. What, you don't see it? I, hadn't thought about it. Point is, no one can kill that cleanly when it's their first time. Getting things that perfect takes practice. So I know that HK must have had a lot more than 6 occasions to practice, Morgan. And that's why I think heartbreak is a misnomer. You've got something catchier in mind? I don't think shooting them in the heart has any particular significance. If anything, it's a testament to their accuracy and their cold-blooded efficiency. Best possible use of 6 untagged bullets. 6 kills. Guaranteed, no matter what kind of life support mods they were packing. Their real signature isn't the bullets or the gun. It's the perfection. That's hard to wrap your head around. I'm saying that these 6 murders were just a fluke, a slip-up, Oh, come on. A mistake? Exactly! A mistake! They got too clean, too efficient, and now they've got the public's attention. It's no wonder they're so pissed. Are you talking about the crime scene? Yeah, probably threw the detectives for a loop, right? Based on what you've said, I don't blame them. Whoever trashed that room doesn't seem like the smooth operator you've been describing. On the contrary. Oh, she's got you read like a book, Morgan. I don't follow. This was the last bullet. Their last shot. The other 5 were perfect. So if anything was out of place this time around, they must have thrown one hell of a temper tantrum. You make them sound like a child. Childish. And cowardly. And two-faced. Someone who hates to lose almost as much as they love to win. Your profile tell you all that? That? No. That part's just... takes one to know one. Huh. So, to summarize, you're looking for a cold-blooded, faceless, perfectionist killer who you think has no persistent MO or victim type. In a city with an 8-digit population. Well, good luck! I don't need luck. I only need more information. Well, I'm sure the city would be happy to provide you with more resources. No, Morgan. I mean I need more crime scenes. Oh. Sad truth is, if Heartbreak walked away today, I'd never catch him. Only way my net narrows is if they keep piling up bodies. Not a very fair trade, is it? No, it isn't. But getting screwed over is a given. It's a deal with the devil. Fair enough. Oof. Okay, that rant was pretty morbid and detailed. I need to get out more. Or sleep more. Or sleep less, but harder. You think a higher thread count would help? Don't worry about it. I'm always happy to listen to you ramble. It's a lot more pleasant than having to face you in the courtroom. Sorry, but that's the adversarial process. So, no hard feelings, yeah? No hard feelings. We're both just doing what we do. I could use a cup of coffee. How about you? Don't tempt me. Hold on, I want to read her profile. Emma. I don't have Emma? Flat? Ha! They put her in. That's funny. Flat Emma Rotford Heartbreak. Yeah, no, we don't have her. I'll click through these super quick, but... Oh, no, we do have her. She's Rockford. February 13th. Oh, the day before Valentine's Day. 165, Assistant District Attorney, Coffee, Toffee, and Haute Couture. Sunburn, Dead Pixels and Eye Strain, Eggs Benedict, plays chess, shogi, and idle 7 stars. Cat person, yes. Very nice. If you fall asleep face first on the table, I won't even take a picture. Okay. Just don't expect this to make a difference next time we're at each other's throats. Heartbreak won't claim any more victims. In 2 weeks, the media will have moved on to its next sensation. And the police will have moved on to cases they actually stand a chance of closing. It's what people do. But Emma is different. She'll set it aside and work a dozen other cases, never bringing it up. But a private corner of that frustratingly sharp mind of hers will continue to whittle away at it. Never finishing, but never quitting either. So I can't afford to take my eyes off her. Oh, you don't want to take your eyes off her, Morgan. You've made that quite clear. The height difference is crazy, too. As long as that's the case, I may as well try and enjoy the view. Episode 0 end. I mean... Oh, hello. Post credits. Oh, who are you? Oh, you're an android. Which means you're going to be living with my friend for a while. Beep beep. For how long? I'm sorry, I don't know. There's no need to look that upset over it. My face barely moved. It may as well have been a blatant pout from where I'm sitting. Yeah, like that. This friend of yours, they're trustworthy? Absolutely. In fact, I trust him more than anyone. Hey, come on. It'll be fun. Really? Really. Educational, too. I think you could stand to learn a lot from someone like Morgan. Oh, we're gonna have an assistant. Oh me, oh my. Wow. Okay. I gotta stretch. How many people made this? Written, directed, and developed by one person. God damn. One person wrote this. Special thanks. Okay, I got things to say, but we're gonna wait till the end. They are in Dev Talk. That's where I've heard of them. I was like, I've heard of Nth Circle Studios somewhere. That's where. That's where. Made with Unity, Nana Novel. I don't use any of these, but cool. And he shall appear. To be continued. You're the smartest person I know, Morgan, when it comes to people. Personally, I think it's cruel to bring something that flawed into the world. You're a criminal defense attorney, and we're at a crime scene, and then guess what happens next? I've never stolen anything. I wasn't already compromised. Work hard, and the company will have you set for life. And after, too. Can't tell you how many musicians I've seen screwed over by a big smile and a fat signing bonus. So that's not just a lawyer job thing? You dress like a doorman on the weekends, too? Compared to determining fault, determining cause of death is like a breath of fresh air. Company wheels don't stop spinning for anything. We can't hope to keep this quiet for very long. But it's a million times more likely than the alternative. That Heartbreak could ever stop themselves from killing. Father said that you owed him. I don't do anything out of the goodness of my heart. But when I take a job, I never half-ass it. Of the Devil, Episode 1. So I know 1 and 2 are out. And Idle Mind. I know 1 and 2 are out. I don't know how many the game will have by the end, but... how'd I do? What are my results? 2 out of 2 articles, 6 out of 6 profiles, all the key terms, all the evidence, 34 total credit earned. Congratulations! You finished episode 0 with 34 credit. Unlocked concept art and bonus scenarios. Yay! 34 store credit. Yay, I get to buy things. Alright, we're gonna go to the main menu for now, though. It's gonna have 5. That's standard for games like this, so... Alright. Let us go ahead and scoot over to chatting. I mean, y'all, that was fantastic. That was really, really good. Like, I'm genuinely impressed. Very impressed. Especially for, like, an indie team like that. The writing was very good. The mystery was good. The UI was beautiful. The art's beautiful. The mechanics are very interesting. I love the card game theme, tying it all together. I mean, just on every level, this was fantastic. I don't think I have a single thing to even nitpick. At least just off the top of my head. Like, I'm sure I might think of something later that, like, is a tiny little thing that could be constructive, but... I'm just very genuinely impressed. That was amazing. It's like if I, the Somnium Files, Detroit Become Human, and Death Note had a weird love child, and I mean that in the best possible way. I am very interested. We're continuing this for sure. For sure. I mean, yeah, it was great. Everyone who suggested this was completely right. Everyone who said it was good was completely correct. I'm a big fan. I'm a very big fan. Yeah, it's fantastic. I feel like that one meme was like, I'm gonna have to think about this because this is gonna be something that sits in my brain for a bit. It was so fun. It was really fun. It was great. It was fantastic. I really don't have a bad thing to say. Yeah, Ace Attorney was a tiny bit in there, but I wouldn't really call this an Ace Attorney-like. I guess we'll need to see if we get, like, courtroom sections, then maybe. At least the demo, though, only really gave Ace Attorney in the sense of, like, we're a lawyer, you know, and we're, like, a defense attorney. But maybe if we get courtroom sections, I could see that. But that's not a dig. Like, I'm glad it's not just a pure Ace Attorney clone either. You know what I mean? But yeah, really fantastic. Highly recommend you guys go support these people. I know I will, and we'll be doing more of this. We will definitely be doing more. I mean, the writing was just so tight. The world building is very interesting. The logic was good. All in all, fantastic work. I feel like I'm just saying how much I liked it over and over again, but I really did like it. So, before we wrap up, let's see who our top 3 are real quick. Doobie-doo-bow-bow. Who do we got today? Number 3, we have Brian J439. At number 2, we have Mikey Mike SH. And at number 1, we have the saddest of... Hold on, it's not letting me read the full name. The saddest of boys. There we go. Thank you guys very, very much for coming. I hope you stick around for the episode 1 streams when those come around eventually. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your weekend, a great start to your week. Thanks for coming by the stream, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye!